March in Florida usually means spring training or spring break. But for the 25 drivers of the IZOD IndyCar Series, March met the season opener in St. Pete. Let's go for a new racing season! And it was names usually associated with title contention left behind after one race. What little sun there was in the Sunshine State shone down upon a first-time winner sporting a bow tie. And the victory by James Hinchcliffe may make him one of the most popular mares in history.
I'm throwing out to Dan. This is his hometown. This is his car. And knowing that my face is going to be in that memorial, that's really special.
Today, the IndyCar Series moves on to Alabama, a place Team Penske can refer to as Sweet Home, having claimed all 3 races here. Or can 3-time Barber runner-up Scott Dixon prevent a four-peat by his rivals? Hold on, the green flag is about to drop on round 2 of the 2013 IZOD IndyCar season.
Awesome job, buddy. I love you guys.
For the 4th consecutive year, the IZOD IndyCar Series visits the beautiful Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama. It is time for some very important words with a very important athlete. Let's hear from Bo Jackson.
Carpet, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in all of... It's already strapped into the IZOD Honda 2-seater. The greatest American athlete of all time. Here's Bo Jackson to give the command.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
All of the expectation, all of the unknown from that season opener, that's gone. We're moving on. This is now focusing on a championship from here on out, and we've got some more important storylines to get through. Let's start with Jan Beekers. Jan?
We do. The engines are fired down here, and you've heard that saying that qualifying is not always indicative of your speed. That would be the case for Simona Di Silvestro. She was the fastest in the practice just before qualifying and missed transferring by a 1/10 of a second. She starts in 14th position, but don't count her out. She has speed for sure. Marty?
Well, Jan, why will this be a good race today? Because there should be a ton of passing. Tire fall off today is tremendous, so new tires will mean everything. And there's a lot of fast guys starting in the back, with Dario Franchitti, who starts in 17th. When you go to the back of the field, there's 9 championships and last week's winner. This should be a fun one today, Kevin.
Well, Tony Kanaan would like to start up closer to the front. He's 19th today, but that's great for all of us. He is exciting in these starts. He went from 24th to 6th a couple of years ago and got 10 at the start. He said, let's temper expectations a little bit. I'm on the blacks instead of the reds, but I'm still going after it. Robin?
Kevin, A.J. Allmendinger has not been in an open-wheel car for 7 years. You couldn't tell it by the way he qualified. But he said yesterday, I'm really glad I got pit number 1 here because it's going to make it easy to get in. He's still getting used to the paddle shifter. The only problem is if he's running up front, he may run into a lot of traffic when he's leaving. Back to you, Lee.
And thanks, Robin. And right beside you was the captain, Roger Penske. Honda's bringing back the fastest seat in sports sweepstakes. You can enter by logging on to shophonda.com. We've already heard from Bo Jackson, the former football and baseball legend. He has got the lucky seat to ride with 2-time Indy 500 winner in the IZOD 2-seater. And Bo is hearing us. Bo, it was great to meet you a little earlier on. Hey, what's more fun, running over Brian Bosworth or riding with Ari Lyondike?
Riding with Ari, 100%.
Well, we spoke to you before, Townsend and I. You said you weren't even a little bit scared. We know that you're not scared of too much. So just enjoy the ride because this is a fascinating track.
I gotta get me one of these.
Thank you, Bo, and it's terrific to have you here today. We understand he's off to Augusta National tomorrow to have lunch with Tiger Woods. So terrific stuff, and he'll enjoy the ride in the IZOD 2-seater. All right, let's take a look at who is lining up where, and it's a pretty perfect picture if you're Andretti Autosport and the defending champion Ryan Hunter-Reay on the pole. But how long will he stay in front, if at all, because Will Power's right there, and it's been a tough weekend for Will Power, so he's determined to get to the front quick. Look at the crowd in the background.
It is a big crowd. In row 2, Tristan Vautier, enormously impressive. This rookie, second time in the top 6. Scott Dixon looking very strong. He's my pick for today.
Wally, who do you like as we roll through these positions? You impressed by Kimball? What do you like?
I'll tell you what, talk to Mitch Davis on the 83 car. They are about as happy with their race cars they've ever been. Those guys could be tough today, and Kimball was very fast in the warm-up.
A few people are saying in the paddock, keep an eye out for Marco Andretti. He's been a little quiet this weekend, just going about his workload methodically. Is he going to be a little bit of a sleeper in the pack?
You never know. I mean, another guy to talk about, Takuma Sato, who got the penalty in qualifying, got pushed back to row 6. You see Simona starting. We know she's strong on race pace. She's outside row 7.
Interesting, when we were at the outdoor studio there before, Simona Di Silvestro, who we heard mentioned a little bit earlier, she got one of the largest cheers from the crowd. So they're expecting a lot from the Swiss Miss. Big name drivers going to work their way through the field. Tony Kanaan, James Hinchcliffe, Graham Rahall's had a tough slog this weekend. What can he do? Because he finished just off the podium last year.
Big surprise for me, Sebastian Bourdais. This is his second race in a row where he's had some struggles in qualifying. I keep waiting for him to pop and show us that 4-time champion speed.
As you become used to, and we all enjoy as IZOD IndyCar Series fans, we've got plenty of onboards for you to show you the passing maneuvers. And the National Guard Panther Racing machine of J.R. Hildebrand. He'll be looking to respond and rebound from a frustrating streets of St. Pete. The Midas car, that's Graham Rahal. He'll show us this view. James Jakes is going to carry an onboard for us today as well. The Acorn Stairlifts machine, there he is. And he's been impressive. He may have something for us here today, the British driver. We'll keep an eye on him. Second, Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan driver. And Charlie Kimball is having the weekend of his career. He is on a real momentum run at the moment. And how about Mr. Runner-Up? Scott Dixon doesn't like being called second place. So he wants to convert 3 consecutive seconds into a win. He may have to get by this man here, Will Power, who he fought for it last year. So much going on in Alabama. Let's check in one final time before we see green with Jan.
Yes, just a quick note on pit road. Today it'll be a 3-stop race unless there was just a tremendous amount of yellow. I think today, Townsend and Wally, it's going to be about tires. It's going to be when do you pick your stops, not necessarily in those windows for fuel, but taking tires is going to be key when they're the best life.
I think you're right there, Jan. It is going to be about tires. Remember, Will Power, he pitted awfully early last year, worked in his favor. So, but, you know, they've got a different tire they're working with here this year, so it's a big unknown for everyone.
We know that if we were on an oval, heavy wind, strong wind would have a greater impact. Is it going to do anything here, Townsend?
Absolutely not. They're running maximum downforce. The cars are incredibly stable in terms of any kind of crosswind as opposed to a place like Indianapolis. So not an issue today with wind.
Wally, thoughts on Takuma Sato? Did really well to make the Firestone Fast 6. We know the story. He got chucked out for blocking Justin Wilson. It would have been the first time AJ Foyt Racing made consecutive Fast 6s.
Yeah, they've got a good race car this weekend, as they did this last weekend. So I think he's going to be tough.
All right, let's pack it up. Let's be tidy, side by side. This is round 2. It's the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama at Barber Motorsports Park, and our series champion is on the pole. Wow, Charlie Kimball was in a hurry, because when you see green, you can go racing. Wow, Vautier's second, Kimball is third. What happened to Will Power?
Will Power gets pushed off on the outside of turn 1. He's back probably 5th or 6th place now.
Charlie Kimball was on a mission, and so too is Marco Andretti.
And you've got to be very aggressive on this at this place, especially on the start to the restart. You don't have that many opportunities to pass here. Here's a spot, probably the best spot on the racetrack to make the pass.
Will Power has dropped about 7 positions as they race up the straight to turn 6. Marco Andretti's the biggest mover in the pack, but we've got a rookie chasing the champion. This is awesome. Into the museum turn. Hunter Ray's already got a 3-car gap. Trouble at the back, contact. Wow, that is Oriol Servier and Graham Rahal.
Now that's going into that 7-8 complex that we saw in the GoPro course preview. It is blind going in. It is a 1-car groove all the way in there. I'm guessing Graham and Oriol were side by side and they ran out of real estate, but hopefully we can see what happened.
Well, they're both going to have to come in and change the nose off those cars because they're missing a lot of pieces.
And Wally,
from Graham's.
We just got word from Race Control that the start is under review. We'll have a replay. Let's take a look. Wally, talk us through.
Well, we'll see what we see here. Just, I think they got boxed up in front of looks like Hinch had to get on the brakes, and it just was an accordion effect. nobody had any place to go. They just ran into each other.
And there's the net result. It was a lucky escape for Joseph Newgarden. Let's go on board the Midas car with Ray Hall.
So Graham's just trying to follow in line here. All of a sudden, as you said, Wally, everybody just flat woed up in front of him, and the stack up happened. Nothing he can do.
Here's the aerial, Wally. This is the replay of the start.
Well, like I said, if the green was out, I think all fair game here as far as Kimball goes. He didn't really advance on his position there.
Look at Will Power. He gets pushed off into the grass. He's got to run wide to avoid contact. Now he's got dirt on his tires. He's fighting for grip in turn 2 here. He's lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 spots.
Wow.
That was Elio getting to the back of somebody.
Good driving back there.
This is the view from the Verizon Penske Chevrolet, riding with Will Power.
Hey, what, Vautier did not give Kimball much room there, did he? And you can see the tire, the dirt on the right front of the tire, like Townsend said. When that happens, you have no grip.
Let's take another look at it. Here from high at turn 2, watch for the white and black car. Power runs off. Look at what a good job Scott Dixon did to avoid him.
And I don't think Power really got pushed off. It looks like he just pushed off.
Well, I think what happened is he thought that Kimball was going to slide wide, and Kimball was totally clean and tidy and kept it together. And I think Will anticipated, probably thinking, I don't want more bad luck, 2 races in a row.
Tell you what, Marco Andretti emulated his father, Michael. He did a great job with a beautiful outside pass. This is Graham Rahal. How wounded is the Midas machine?
Well, they've changed the nose piece on that already.
Yeah, so he's just packing up here. He's just in a hurry to make sure he doesn't lose on the restart.
I'll show you what he did. That nose assembly weighs about 40 pounds. There's about 4 locking pins that go in. Tell us more, Marty. You were there.
And, guys, they did change that front wing, as you just saw. He said the tires were fine. He said the field checked up. I had nowhere to go. Also, Oriol Servia came in. He changed the front wing. And they have some right rear damage for Oriol Servia as well. Kevin?
Down here at this end, we saw Ed Carpenter come in to top off, and also Anna Beatrice. Those are the only 2 near pit end.
If it's going to happen, that's the best time for it to happen. You still got a whole race ahead of you right now to make it up.
This is a track historically where we see yellows every year.
You can see Servia's right rear bumper there is slightly damaged. It looks like it's loose and flopping around. The question is there any suspension damage? He doesn't care about that bumper, but he'll be feeling out the car right now, especially in the left-hand corners, to see what the right rear feels like.
And they are getting the rear piece off, and they're going to have him come back in. So that answers your question right there, doesn't it, Townsend?
Yes.
It was. Well, are they saying there's damage? Does he feel like there's something wrong with it?
He did not know there was right rear damage. While the crew told him after he left, he said, hey, feel out that right rear as best as you can. We may need to come back in and put a rear wing on as well.
I'm not sure that piece didn't prevent any more damage, or there would have been, if that wasn't there, may have done more damage.
Perhaps.
Suspension.
It's been a controversial piece, those rear bumper pods. Luckily for Servia, most of the track is right-hand corners, so a lot of the load goes to the left rear, not the right rear, but you do have to turn left occasionally.
Let's run down the order here for you. Ryan Hunter-Reay leads, and it's the first time he's led a race since Baltimore last year. Tristan Vautier in the Schmidt-Peterson machine running second. Marco Andretti with a dynamic start to get to third. Charlie Kimball is fourth. Justin Wilson was a good move at 2, rocketing up into the top 5 at the expense of Scott Dixon and Sebastian Saavedra. Will Power. Armbruster has moved forward a position to 9th, and Elio Castro Neves is 10th. That was a frantic opening lap.
I remember Justin Wilson here last year. He had his hand. I mean, it was fun to watch for us, but it wasn't fun for him. He had his hands full. I think he's got a much better car this year.
This is Scott Dixon. He lost position as well. Remember, he started in 4th. He's dropped back 2 positions to 6th. Part of that was having to check up to avoid Will Power. And we are receiving word that there's drama with the GoDaddy machine. Hinchcliffe. That's either a
right rear down?
Left rear.
Left rear
down. Flat left rear tire, perhaps.
And he has called in and said there is no drive for James Hinchcliffe. So that is his issue, no drive.
Perhaps the left rear is hanging off the track.
Our race 1 winner is stranded on the side of the course. Remember, he was hit from behind. Part of the cause for this first lap yellow.
No, there's something wrong with the left rear, though. I can see it vibrate. It's shaking.
You're here to the pit.
So the magical run does not continue for the mayor of Hinchtown. We'll tell you more about what the story is when we come back to Barber. You're watching NBC Sports Network's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Honda. an official vehicle of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Honda, we know you. We know you have to rise early and work late, with not enough sleep in between, and how things aren't just about you anymore. Introducing a car that starts with you. The all-new Accord from Honda.
Honda, proud partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Whoa.
Nobody insures more bikes than Progressive. Do you guys ride?
Well, no.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if you know anybody else who also rides, send them here. We got great coverage. It's not like bikers love their bikes more than life itself. I doubt anyone will even notice.
Leading the pack in motorcycle insurance. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
Command has been given. Row 1, let me know. Row 1, hot. Row 2, hot. 3 hot. 5 hot.
Live in-car cameras. 4-in-1 mosaic. Having your heart race as fast as theirs.
Hey, good screen.
That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
2 great races on one network. Formula One racing returns with the UBS Chinese Grand Prix, live Saturday night at 2:30 a.m. And IndyCar continues with the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, live in 2 weeks, all on the NBC Sports Network.
The push for the playoffs is on the NBC Sports Network. Tonight at 7, Thomas Vanek and the Sabres look to spoil the Devils' postseason hopes. Devils, Sabres, coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network.
Birmingham, Alabama, the host city for the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama, and has been so for the last 4 years now. Very first motorsport event here at Barber was 10 years ago. Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series back in 2003, but we welcome you back. This is the second round of the IZOD IndyCar Series, and we are not going to have consecutive winners because James Hinchcliffe and his GoDaddy Andretti Autosport machine.
Watch the GoDaddy car. You see the right rear come off the racetrack? And like Towns and I were talking at the break, maybe that left rear got into the curb.
Yeah, somehow he's got damage to either the wheel or the hub or the upright on that left rear. If they can get him to pit lane, his guys can take a quick look.
Well,
you never know, maybe get him back out there.
They just rolled the left rear off it. So.
How did they get it off? That's
I bet you the centerpiece is broke.
This is Graham Rahal. Marty's there.
And guys, you see Graham Rahal coming in. Perhaps our first play of tire strategy today. We talked about the fall off very early in the run on tires. They put on silver blacks on Graham Rahal's car. He's in the back of the field, so what do they really have to lose? And this could be interesting. How much ground can he make up? How much were those other tires worn out in just 5 laps, guys?
Like you said, Marty, he's got absolutely nothing to lose. So go ahead and throw the dice.
Aren't you surprised, Wally, to see him go with blacks there, though?
Well, we talked to a lot of guys this morning. There's a lot of different guys that we talked to that seem like some of them are good on the red, some of them are good on the blacks. I think it really has to do with the way they're set up.
Through the order, there's Vautier, there's Andretti, there's Kimball, Justin Wilson, Scott Dixon, back to Sebastian Saavedra, the best of the Dragon runners. There's Will Power. Next one in line is AJ Allmendinger, and here is Elio Castro-Neves. So you've got all 3 Penske machines running right with each other in 8th, 9th, and 10th. This is not the
restart this time by.
This is the word. This is not the start that this 26-car field was expecting. So we'll get some speed and momentum get going again. So it's just outside the top 10. Sato, James Jake, Simon Pagenaud has made some good positions. But what about this dynamic rookie, the 23-year-old Frenchman, Tristan Vautier, that black, orange, and white machine?
Pair up, everybody.
Keep an eye on him. Race control asking everyone to pair up, as Vautier does alongside the reigning series champion, Ryan Hunter-Ray. It's time to go racing in Alabama.
Green.
Here comes Justin Wilson up the inside of Marco. Marco says,
And how about AJ Allmendinger up the inside of Sebastian Saavedra? He gets around Will Power as well. Super restart from Allmendinger.
Power goes off again. Exactly the same spot.
Stretching their legs through 3 and up the hill to 4. One of the most challenging corners on this track in the downhill run to 5.
Justin Wilson on the outside now with Kimball in 5.
I have never seen Justin Wilson so hot as he's been this weekend. He's normally pretty mellow and calm. He was really boiling about that blocking by Takuma Sato yesterday during qualifying. Watch for the lanky Englishman to be fired up in this one today.
And I would say angry is the appropriate word, Lee. He was furious. He got out of his car after that incident happened and stormed to the IndyCar hauler to talk to an official to say, you need to penalize him. Terrific driving so far early for Justin Wilson. I think there's a little bit of anger left over, Lee.
Yeah, absolutely, and he'll carry this through as motivation in this race. Now we've got some momentum going. Dixon's out after Wilson. Power is after Allmendinger, and so Castro Neves. They must be saying, hang on, this picture's wrong. We shouldn't be chasing Allmendinger.
Who would have thought you would see AJ Allmendinger leading Will Power straight up on the opening laps at Barber?
Tagliani around the outside of Simona Di Silvestro, and Tony Kanaan is tucked in behind them. Down through 1. There's Castro Neves, there's James Jakes, and then Dario Franchitti in the orange and blue car this weekend has made good headway as well. Franchitti up to 13th. Down to 5 again. Comfortable, calm, and confident is Ryan Hunter-Reay. That sums up his weekend. They've gone about it very methodically. Pagenaud is chasing after Franchitti. The light blue car there with the dark top is Alex Tagliani. Really ground hard at St. Pete to come away with a top 10 result. And that Barracuda racing team for Brian Herta Autosport wants more of the same here.
You know, Tagliani had a smooth and steady run to 10th place at St. Pete. Nothing spectacular. They're looking to get some more momentum going with that Barracuda car this weekend.
This is so faster here, you guys. This is what we're talking about when we talked about those G's. These guys are really hanging on through here.
I've talked to several drivers, Wally, that have talked about not being able to even turn the wheel at peak load. Once you get into the corner, the steering wheel literally just locks up and you're committed at that point.
The white, blue, and green car right there on your screen is Simona Di Silvestro hassling Alex Tagliani.
Simona is on Firestone Reds. She was very quick on those tires this morning. She went 16 laps trouble-free on the Reds, all of warm-up on those tires. I'm surprised more people aren't on Reds given the durability of that tire.
I'm going to show you a replay. Check out Will Power. Again coming down to turn 1. He's behind Scott Dixon. He's got Saavedra beside him. It is busy. But watch what happens.
He's just in the marbles right there. He's a little bit further outside the line than you really want to be in that corner, and I think he just got in the marbles and slipped out.
You know, that's a radius you never practice, right? In practice, you're taking a traditional apex line. It's the first time, well, it's the second time now that he's taken that line. I'm expecting him not to do that again.
Either that or he's cleaning it off for later.
Working it up.
Charlie Kimball, the racewithinsulin.com car is up to 3rd. And he's got Marco Andretti chasing out after him. Check this out, down into turn 5, and this is how Charlie did it.
That is nice. He had a little tiny lockup on his left front, eased off the brake pedal to keep the tire rolling, and that was clean. Honda passing a Chevy.
And guys, right now in that podium spot in 3rd position is Charlie Kimball up in front of this battle right here. And I talked to him earlier today. He said, yeah, we have a podium car today, but I really just want a top 5 out of this. I want us to start building consistency. He said race day was not a problem for us last year. Our problem was not practicing quick, not qualifying quick. Well, we've done that this weekend, but what this race team needs to do, finish consistently in the top 5. Great place to start. Obviously, they have a very good car. Look at that battle, Lee. Justin Wilson is angry, isn't he?
Wilson on Dixon, and Dixon gets pushed wide. Justin Wilson continues to storm forward. He's now in the top 5.
I want to go back a little bit what Marty said. That may be what he said to you, Marty, but I'll guarantee you, Kimball wants a victory right now, and they feel like they've got a car that can win. I think a top 5 is something safe to say, but if you've got a car that's really handling well like Kimball, you're going for it.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, race leader, and has a very comfortable break. 2.2 seconds out in front. Yeah, that's where he's used to being, number 1.
What do you call a machine that combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused design? We call it a Can-Am. From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side rebuild. And right now, get your own for as low as $149 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
The crossover. We have the technology to rebuild it. SkyActiv technology makes it better than it was before. With the best highway fuel efficiency of any SUV, even hybrids. The Mazda CX-5 will be that crossover. Better, stronger, smarter. We build Mazdas. What do you drive?
You know what always kept America moving forward, America?
Change! We didn't like the shape of chickens, so we changed them to nuggets. We grew tired of saying, "Greetings, dear friend," so we changed it to "Sup." We changed man bands into boy bands. We gotta change that back. And sports drinks were boring, so we changed that with new Meofit. A sports drink with electrolytes you can flavor your way. Change your sports drink. Change America.
It's the end of an era.
All the parties. The stories.
I'm gonna miss your smell. You were my first.
What? I knew it. I knew it.
It's true.
Oh, man, I'm sorry I broke your leg.
I wrote a song. Sorry. Here we go.
Keep the good times going with the crisp, refreshing taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Whoa. Check out this new couch.
Great to have you with us at Barber Motorsports Park. The Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama continues here on the NBC Sports Network. Lee Diffie with Townsend Bell, Wally Dallenbach, Marty Snyder, Jan Beekes and Kevin Lee. And it's as busy out on the track as you can believe. Scott Dixon, 3 times a runner-up here, is trying to get that position back from Justin Wilson.
Yeah, this has been a great battle we've been watching. And tell you what, Wilson's driving the wheels off that thing. Now he's on the black tires as Dixon's on the red. Dixon should have a little bit more grip. But that's how difficult this place is, just to get around somebody.
You would think Dixon would have a little more grip, but a little less durability. But we're 12 laps into this, and those Firestone Reds are still hanging in there tough. Wilson looks loose to me.
James Jakes is on pit lane. What's going on, Kevin?
Second time he's on pit lane. He reported a problem with the right rear. They came in hoping it was just a punctured tire. Went back out, checked the tire, no problem. So now he's back in, and they're going to work on the suspension and other parts of the car to try to address the issue, but they still have not been able to get it. He was running in the 12th position, but he's lost all of his opportunity for a good finish today.
You see what they were addressing there on the left, and on the right box you may have seen Scott Dixon successfully pass Justin Wilson.
And as Townsend said, Wilson, you can see the car sliding around a little bit, so Dixon's got a little bit better bite coming off the corners. That's all he needed to set him up for a pass under braking.
It's amazing to me what Justin Wilson has able to squeeze out of this Dale Coyne entry. We know it's a small team, limited resources. This morning, I saw Justin's younger brother, Stephen Wilson, teaching a volunteer pit crew guy how to put a tire over the wall. That's how small they are. They needed extra people to help out.
Great support from the Boy Scouts of America for the 3rd consecutive year for Dale Coyne Racing. Now, as Dixon gets closer to Marco Andretti right there, Charlie Kimball has left Andretti behind and is out chasing after Tristan Vautier for second. Meanwhile, race leader Ryan Hunter-Reay has a 4-second lead. This man here, Sebastian Bourdais, started 23rd and is now 15th. The Frenchman is on fire.
This is the kind of performance we've been waiting for. Last year, Sebastian Bourdais was in a Lotus, down maybe 50, 60 horsepower, finished 9th. Felt like a victory for him. He knows this track very well. He's championship pedigree. Hopefully this is going to be a good day for him.
Wally, he said to us earlier in the weekend, when the car is bottoming out and you're scraping, if you do that at certain tracks, you can get away with it. If you do that here, you're done.
Yeah, there's so, like you said, this place, you're so busy. There's a spot where you'll see a lot of those cars hit the racetrack. We saw it in practice. So, like we talked about earlier, these guys are driving so hard right now. When you bottom, the car takes off.
Chasing out after countryman Simon Pagenaud, who's dropped a spot, started 13th, and he's back to 14th now. Dario Franchitti is up to 12th. There's been a lot of movement in these opening 13 laps. We promised you to tell you more about the Hinchcliffe story, and Jan is there.
Yes, the story for James Hinchcliffe is that he's been in communication. You can see him there. They have told him that they will get him back into pit lane at the next yellow. So he's going to stay in the car. They feel it's just the wheel at this point. Kevin?
Alex Taglier came in, and they've got a problem with some issue on the rear wing. They came in to address that very quickly. They had a spare rear wing available to change, but they didn't do that. They just ripped off the piece that was dangling. He's back out. Marty?
Kevin Graham Rahal pitted right in front of him. He said the car just way too loose, so they came in, put on sticker reds. And we talked about them putting on sticker blacks just a moment ago. They restarted 25th, only made it to 23rd, so they didn't gain the spots they thought they would. Once again, nothing to lose, pitting with sticker reds this time.
They're going to experiment a little bit. Like I said, now's the time to do it. Boy, I'm telling you what, Kimball is on fire right now.
And speaking of Charlie Kimball, Wally, do you know he finished 12th at St. Pete 2 weeks ago with 6 visits to pit lane? That was an extraordinarily gritty performance. He did not give up. And here, this is something that Charlie has not experienced all too often in his IndyCar career. That is running at the front, fighting for a podium. And he's trying to wrestle a rookie right now in Tristan Vautier.
Charlie Kimball, the son of a race engineer, and the methodical engineering-like nature of Charlie Kimball has just been a processional one step in front of the other in his short career in IndyCar. He just continues to make gains.
A little bit of communication from Brad Goldberg, his race engineer. They've already forged a really good relationship, and they have just chipped away at this. Got to remember, too, that they're kind of in the shadow of the big names at Chip Ganassi's organization, Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon. So they just go about it and they work away at it, and this is their time in the sun.
Well, Lee, I talked to him about that, learning from those guys. He said that we spent a lot of time in the winter trying to get what their data was and apply it to what we do. And we talked earlier about their battle, trying to get better on Fridays. And it's so much different, Townsend, isn't it, when you can qualify up front and not have to race your way through the field early in a race. Qualifying up front makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it?
Massive difference. Having clean air on the front wing, which he doesn't have right now, but at least a clear view. And in a lot of cases, it's easier sometimes, Wally, to be at the front than it is, when you're stuck in the back.
There's no question about it.
So this is the fight for second. Meanwhile, race leader Hunter Ray is nearly 6 seconds out in front. Further back, though, the Iceman, Scott Dixon, just continues to climb. This is his move for 4th a little earlier on Marco Andretti.
Neves has just left pit lane, and he went for sticker red tires. So he's gone from red to red, alternate to alternate. A couple others taking advantage of this pit window as we speak.
3-stop pit today here at Barber Motorsports Park. Dario Franchitti, Simon Pagenaud. Pit lane is a busy time right now. But let's see what this can do for Helio Castroneves. He was kind of stuck in some traffic. He's now got those reds on, Wally. Time to make some ground.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody's been talking about the reds. They've got more grip. They're better. We've seen that with Kimball, obviously.
I think the surprise for everyone has been durability of the reds. In qualifying, it seemed like you got one peak lap, and I think everybody was concerned they'd totally fall apart. In morning warm-up, lots of drivers experimented with long runs and found that they were perfectly fine over the distance. Now, we've only seen 19 laps so far, so we haven't seen a full fuel stint. Here comes Vizo.
And Tony Kanaan came in as well. They were running 14th and 15th. You're hearing Wally and Townsend talk a lot about the reds or the blacks, the primary tires or the alternates. What happens is you have to run at least one time on each tire compound. They're both going for the softer tire compound, the red wall tires. And Kanaan, a good stop there. Look at this fight for second, though. Tristan Vautier is under pressure from Charlie Kimball, and Kimball's growing impatient.
That is not a place you want to stick your nose in. Charlie Kimball is looking like, a guy that is just, hightailing it to the front here. It's amazing. He's really got a strong car, doing an awesome job.
I think what he's trying to do right now is just fill Vautier's mirrors as much as he can to force Vautier possibly into making one little mistake, just that opening to where he can make the pass.
Well, the other thing is that Hunter Ray is just fading off into the distance. Got a 9-second lead. He's running low 1 minute 10 lap times. Everybody else is in the 11s, and Dixon is coming.
Well, I'll bet you if Kimball does get past Vautier, I know it's close to a pit stop right now, but he would he would, just take off. So I think Vautier is holding him up. Sorry, Marty.
On that little move we saw a moment ago, Mitch Davis came over the radio and said, all right, dude, settle down a little bit. Just calm down. He knows his driver very anxious to get to the front and get that second position as well, guys. But he told him, take a breath. Very close to our pit stop. Don't force the issue now.
Yeah, but as Townsend said, I mean, that's easy to say over the radio, but when you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing a car all of a sudden fill your mirror up, you know you're being held up. You want to get past that car.
Guys, there's no guarantee of a yellow. There's such thing of a green-to-green run all race in this series now like we had last year at Mid-Ohio. Jan?
The case for Tristan Vautier, and you can see how close that is right now. Talk to Alan McDonald, his engineer, early in the stint. He says, we're just taking it easy, trying to manage the tires, but right now they can't manage anything. They have to step on it and try and keep Charlie Kindle behind. Again, tire management. There you see Alan McDonald on the left of the screen making the calls for the rookie.
Why not bring Kimball in right now and get that stop done?
Get him out of this.
And hopefully get him out of that situation and back in front of Vautier when Vautier makes his pit stop.
Get him out of this traffic, get him out of the pressure with Dixon coming from behind, calm him down and send him back out with some fresh tires. But this has been an inspirational drive from Charlie Kimball, the best we have seen in his IndyCar career. Watch this replay. So he's chasing Vautier.
Coming through this flat-out chicane, he's going to dip a nose in here. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he was just flirting. He was just showing it in the mirrors, getting Vautier's head.
Oh, you see Vautier get sideways there. Folks, when Charlie popped his nose on the inside there, that's at 160 miles an hour. This is high-speed stakes. Meanwhile, they've got a big deficit to make up on Ryan Hunter-Reay. The lead is almost 10 seconds to Michael Andretti's man.
Now, what Charlie Kimball's got to be careful of is pushing that hard to try to get by. You are burning up more rubber. He's losing downforce being that close to Vautier. He requires more mechanical grip to make up the difference. That puts extra strain on the rubber.
Let's reset the order for you. Hunter-Reay, Vautier, we ride with Kimball, Dixon, Marco Andretti, Justin Wilson. A.J. Allmendinger is still in 7th with a great drive, and he's come back to open wheel racing. Power, Sato, and Saavedra.
The thing is, going back to that, Ryan Hunter-Reay, his laps, he's just clicking off 1 minute, 10:43 seconds. These guys, because they're racing, are a lot slower. So, like you said, they're losing ground to the leader right now because they're battling so hard.
Biggest mover in this field.
There's a little bit of a mistake, and that's where you need to take advantage of it right now.
Go.
Oh, and he got a little bit sideways when he tried turning underneath Vautier.
Little greedy with the throttle, trying to get a run.
Dixon had a great look at that, but he looks to have lost maybe a car length or two. Down into the museum turn. Pressure is on the rookie. Or maybe not, because he's showing us that he's pretty handy.
But that's what Kimball's doing the right thing is, I think, keeping that pressure on. Here we go.
Now, last time this worked, he showed a nose, and Vautier got loose coming up over the hill thinking about it. That time, Vautier keeps it clean and tidy.
Who's going to head to the pits first? Neither of these guys. We're in that first pit stop window.
Vautier is really good through these last two corners. You can see he pulls about a car length on Charlie Kimball. This is one of the spots where Vautier is a little bit better. Go ahead.
Irrespective of the result, Wally, as you well know, this is the kind of racing when these guys get out of the cockpit, they say, boy, that was fun. Kevin?
First IndyCar pit stop for A.J. Allmendinger. It's also the first time over the wall for the Air Jack man and also the Fueler. Smooth pit stop. They worked 5 straight consecutive laps in the final warm-up today. Not only getting A.J. comfortable on pit stops, but getting this crew. They all have IndyCar experience, but many of them in new positions.
Saavedra for Dragon Racing. And an error. Confusion.
They had an issue in St. Pete with the pit stop as well. Somebody on the left rear, a little bit of miscommunication. Saavedra did the right thing to hold up, make sure that they were all okay and out of the way.
Here's our race leader, Ryan Hunter-Reay, in the DHL machine, and he boasts an 11.5-second lead. This has been clinical. What an awesome opening stanza. Of course, we did have a full course yellow on the opening lap, but since then, it has been smooth sailing for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Hunter-Reay this is exactly where he wants to be, out front, clean air. Here comes Vautier in, lap 24 on those reds. They're ready for new ones.
Now it's going to be interesting to see how these guys get in and out of the pit lane and see if maybe Kimball's stop is a little bit better.
Okay.
Easiest place to pass somebody, Jan, is in pit lane.
Absolutely, and they're going to go for the black. In fact, those are sticker brand new black sidewall Firestones they're going to go with. That is waiting on fuel, but a little bit slow getaway. That almost got to 10 seconds. They had it done around 8.
That might be enough.
This is what you're talking about. You hit the pit speed limiter line, you remove the pit speed limiter, and now this is the hard part, that next turn 2, cold tires.
Something that caught the man in the orange car in the middle there, Dario Franchitti, out 2 weeks ago in St. Petersburg, Florida. He's being hounded by Simon Pagenaud, two guys who had rough weekends in Florida, and they were both disappointed with qualifying performances here yesterday. It's Ed Carpenter in the Fuzzies car. They need to try and get by Ed if they can, when they can. And you're talking about guys who are running 11th, 12th and 13th. The fight is on. Dario's made up good positions here today. Nobody's made up as many as Sebastian Bourdais. He has been the biggest mover in the pack. Will that play out when we get to the end of today's 90-lap race? Fast approaching third race distance. This is Marco Andretti in for his first stop of the day. So too Bourdais in the background.
Pretty much wide open up here. Wide open. 3, 2,
Marco Andretti comes to his pit stall, guys. Kind of bottomed out or kind of settled out there in the top 10. They're going with black tires. They're going to go with the primary tires. These are scuffed tires. A little bit long time on the left right rear for Marco Andretti as he leaves pit road, Jan.
And Simona Di Silvestro finishing her service, and that is a little bit quicker, although again a little bit of a slow getaway as looks like Bourdais gets by on the outside.
Building back to speed and slotting back in just in front of Takuma Sato there. We're back on board with Charlie Kimball.
Now this right here, if this costs Kimball some time because he's trying to get around Anna, this is good for Vautier.
Very good.
And he dives to the pits.
And the reason why Wally was saying it's good for Vautier because the outlaps and the in-laps are so crucial. Marty.
What an amazing Sunday drive it's been for Ryan Hunter-Reay. As you would imagine, he has not said a word on the radio, wanted no changes on the car at all. Their interesting strategy, if it was under green, they put on a scuff set. That's what they did. Scuff set of blacks for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Meanwhile, for Charlie Kimball, he's on pit road. It will be sticker, black tires for Kimball. Those reds coming off. What a terrific first hit for Charlie Kimball as he leaves pit road. Right in front of him, Justin Wilson pitting. Sticker reds going off for Justin Wilson, who pits, running in the 6th position.
A little bit of a hang-up there, Townsend. Did they have all the fuel in, or did they wait on the left
issue
front?
on the left front. They had a wheel nut issue on the left front. Now Kimball's outlap is going to be critical. Oh boy,
that's Vautier. So Kimball has been able to beat Vautier out. Great work from the Race with Insulin crew.
Vautier was pushing as hard as he could. He knew it was going to be close because he too had a little bit of an issue, a hiccup, maybe a second on that pit stop. Kimball, though, his tires are still going to be cold. He's on blacks, a harder compound. Vautier could catch him quite easily.
So both Dixon and Kimball have leapfrogged Tristan Vautier.
Now the hard part about cold tires is not only is the temperature of the rubber cold, it lacks a little bit of grip, the tire pressures are down, especially when you go into this next section. Very high speed, the downforce compresses the car. You got to be careful.
Opening round of stops still continue. Waiting for Will Power, who stayed out, waiting to see his first stop. Can he convert this race today into yet another victory in Alabama?
Extreme power, ultimate savings. Get both now at your Polaris dealer during the XP sales event. Rebates up to $1,000 and financing as low as 2.99% on the world's best power sports lineup. Incredible deals on hard-working Rangers, smooth-riding sportsmen, and razor-sharp racers. Hurry to your local Polaris dealer for rebates up to $1,000 and financing as low as 2.99% during the Polaris XP sales event.
Live in-car cameras. 4-in-1 mosaic. Having your heart race as fast as theirs.
Hey, good screen.
That's powerful. Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
The 2013 Indianapolis 500-mile race. Start your journey at Indy500orbust.com.
All the colour, build-up and excitement for the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama here at Barber Motorsports Park.
40, bud. You gotta stay on the 40.
And there's some radio transmission there. You're looking at Will Power. He is leading the race, but he is yet to stop for that first one. Tell us more, Jan.
Lap 3 might be better. You got 2 more laps. You got this one and 1 more.
I'm listening to hear what Tim Cindric is telling him, and that is how many laps it'll be until he is on pit road. And I believe what they're trying to do now with a couple laps to go, they're trying to change their strategy and make it in 2 stops. They're going to need some help with yellow, but I think because he went off the course on the start and the restart, they changed their focus and now went into fuel save mode.
Jan, you're watching Justin Wilson. On the very end of his stop, the team dropped the jack too early. The right rear was not fully on. They had to put the car back up, get the right rear on. He came in 6th, fellas. He is currently running 19th, dropped all the way back into the back of the pack.
And that's only going to spur on that anger that he had earlier in the weekend as he gets by Graham Rahal. Down into the museum turn. So we heard Tim Cindric say 2 more laps to Will Power. Let's closely monitor that, because the long-time race leader, Ryan Hunter-Reay, as they stand with his first pit stop in hand, is only 5 seconds behind him.
It's amazing. Will Power has 30 laps on these red tires. He's going quicker than Hunter-Reay on new black tires, fresh black tires. His pace is incredible, and he's saving fuel. That's how fast he is. Corner entry, he's off the brake. He's coasting the car a lot, getting great mileage, and going like a champ.
Before today's race started, Will Power has led 124 out of a possible 270 laps at this racetrack. His history around this 2.38-mile circuit, Wally, is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's been the man to beat. There's no question about it. At a lot of places, he's been the guy to beat. So it's interesting that they're changing their strategy here. It may work out for him big as he hits pit lane.
So, Lee, we're looking at in and out laps here. This is a great graphic to have so we can compare how well do they do on their final lap before they come into the pits, and then what is it like on cold tires, full fuel coming out.
And Townsend, if you look at your scoring monitor, add 29.5 seconds right now to Will Power, and that's about where he will slot back in if everything goes according to plan. If they're on a 2-stop strategy, they're going with scrub blacks. They're going to stay here and get every last bit of fuel to be sure they get it, and they do. Wow! A full tank of fuel, 7.8 seconds. But now, if they get some help, it'll be 2 stops.
So based on what Jan's saying, he should come out around 8th spot.
Right there in front of Dario Franchitti, so he's going to snatch 7th place. Is Will Power. That was productive work from the Penske team.
Now, the Reds were so good for Will Power. Does he try to short stint these? I don't know. He's maybe looking at a 2-stop strategy, so maybe he's got to stretch the blacks for another 30 laps.
That may be a little bit more difficult.
Tristan Vautier, you may have noticed, has been shuffled back. He's been pushed back from not only Simon Pagenaud, but also Dario Franchitti. So the revised order is Hunter-Reay, Castro Neves, Kimball, Power, Dixon. Then you can slot into that group there. Will Power, Dario Franchitti, Simon Pagenaud, then Tristan Vautier.
A lot of pressure right there from Franchitti.
It's been a pretty gritty drive from Dario today, hasn't it? He was frustrated to the max yesterday after qualifying, not advancing through to the Firestone Fast 6. And this has been a come-from-behind drive.
You know, we did our research and went and talked to Dario. I spoke to his father. I know, Marty, you talked to Dario personally after morning warm-up, trying to figure out, is there a story behind the struggles he's had? And Marty, what'd you learn?
Well, he told me, you know what, I flat messed up the lap in qualifying. It was completely my fault. I botched the lap I should have been fast on, and you really only had 1 lap with these sticker reds trying to go fast, trying to get into the fast 6. He said, we've honestly had a fast car all weekend, and we struggled a little bit. We know the direction we didn't need to go, but the qualifying lap, that was all me. We have to make it up in the race. And I asked him before the race, guys, can you win from starting in 17th? He said, no, but you never know what can happen. Look at him right now. What is he in the... Currently, he's in the 6th position, isn't he?
So, the lowest grid spot that a driver has won here at Barber is 9th. That was Will Power last year.
Wally, in the old days, if you messed up and you were hard on yourself, I mean, that meant like a second for me. I lost a second in that corner. We're talking 2/10. That's how tight this is.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are always driving angry, and that's how you have to attack this racetrack. I'm a little bit surprised Branchitti hasn't been able to put a little bit more pressure on Will Power since he had the warmer tires and he's on the reds. Will Power's hanging in there pretty tough in front of these guys.
Will Power's got
right
more
now.
fuel on board. His car's going to be heavier.
Yeah.
He's on the blacks, but he is also the man here at Barber.
They're on reds behind you. 2 cars on reds behind you.
It's communication from Tim Cindric, president of Penske Racing. Kevin?
Ed Carpenter came in and topped off a couple of times in that early yellow, and that's moved him from last up to 9th, and he is going to try to get home on one more stop, so they're going to have an opportunity to have a pretty good finish here. They'll need a little bit of yellow, but they've got an opportunity to essentially make this into a 2-stop race, plus the 2 early top-offs. They came in now because the tires were worn out. They could have gone a couple of laps further on fuel.
Ed was really pleased with how much he has improved on road/street course racing. His performance at St. Petersburg was a dramatic improvement, and he's going to continue to get better and better. He's only been racing on road and street courses since 2006.
Good job. Just keep watching those tires. Keep protecting the tires.
That's the message to Ryan Hunter-Reay from the Andretti Autosport camp. Look after those tires. Here's Elio Castroneves. He's got 8 more laps on his tires than Ryan Hunter-Reay has, but he's firmly in 2nd place.
And currently circulating 2/3 quicker than Hunter-Reay.
Charlie Kimball maintains a fine 3rd spot. You may have noticed the blue rimmed wheels on the Ganassi cars, all 3 of them, Dixon Franchitti and Charlie Kimball, and they emulate the blue circle, which is the International Diabetes Foundation global symbol for diabetes. It's the whole Race with Insulin and the Race with Insulin Unites initiative across all of the Ganassi racing platforms this weekend. We'll tell you more about that the next time we see Charlie. For this man here, it has been a Sunday cruise. Ryan Hunter-Reay, 8.5 seconds out in front.
It's the end of an era.
All the parties, the stories.
I'm gonna miss your smell.
You were my first.
What? I knew it. I knew it.
It's true.
Oh, man, I'm sorry I broke your leg.
I wrote a song. Sorry. Here we go.
Keep the good times going with the crisp, refreshing taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Whoa. Check out this new couch.
There's only one car company in America that's never made a single car. And while you won't find Firestone cars on any showroom floor, they're out there, running better, faster, stronger, longer. No, we don't build cars. But make no mistake, Firestone is a car company. So whatever you drive a Firestone.
I'm Bill. I've had diabetes since I was a little kid, and I used to smoke. That's a bad combination. But if you're doing that, I've got a tip for you. Make a list. Put the people you love at the top. Put down your eyes, your legs, your kidneys, and your heart. Now, cross off all the things you're okay with losing because you'd rather smoke.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
At Honda, we know some people just can't leave things be. They wonder how much faster this thing could go. What if it weighed less or turned sharper? They know that things can always be better. We count ourselves among those people. Introducing the quicker, sleeker, smarter, best Civic Si yet, made possible by Honda.
Honda, proud partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, the New Jersey Devils continue their push for the playoffs when they take on the Sabres in an Eastern Conference showdown. Devils Sabres tonight at 7 Eastern. It's the NHL on the NBC Sports Network. Great spot to watch. That's near where our outdoor studio was, just above turns 2 and 3. Welcome back to the NBC Sports Network's coverage of round 2 of the IZOD IndyCar Series here at Barber Motorsports Park. It's time, with thanks to Honda, to take us through the field, and Marty Snyder kicks it off.
Well, how about this drive for Ryan Hunter-Reay? Led every lap of the race so far. Said very little on the radio this afternoon. He told me on Friday, this is a challenging track that awards aggressiveness, but if you step over that line, you pay for it. He said, I've had to learn that, but today he hasn't needed to be very aggressive. They put the scuffed black tires on that first time because, Jan, they wanted the car to come in quicker.
And, of course, being chased by Helio Castro-Neves, he's been told on the radio, you need to save a little bit of fuel. Remember, he was one of the first to pit. He's been out there 19 laps. Marty?
Charlie Kimball on some sticker black tires back there. Has not said much about the handling. He's somewhere back there, I promise you, in the 3rd position, trying to catch up to Helio Castro-Neves. Very happy with his weekend. Told me he would love to get a podium out of this if he can. We'll see what happens. Kevin?
His teammate Scott Dixon is running right behind him. We'll find him coming around the corner there in the red and white Target car. There's Scott Dixon. He's not been happy on this second stint of tires. Something feels wrong up front. A little bit of understeer, so he's just trying to hang on, and so far he is, Jan.
And, of course, we've documented Will Power's efforts, and he has obviously a train of cars behind him, and he might, I say might, be on a 2-stop strategy, but he's going to need some yellow, in my opinion, to pull that one off.
Jan Dario Franchitti is not on a 2-stop strategy. They pitted at lap 18, trying to get around Will Power there. Not in a very good spot to do it, though. So they'll have to pit about lap 45 or so. We can expect to see Dario Franchitti back on pit road, Kevin.
Simon Pagenaud has worked his way up to the 7th position. He started 13th, but keep in mind, he would have been quick enough in his group. He was in group number 1. If he was in group 2, that would have been 3rd quick, and he was confident coming into this race that he could run with the leaders, Jan.
And his teammate Tristan Vautier, of course, one of his big concerns being a rookie was fitness. He said this track absolutely just wrings it out of you, and said I've been kind of pacing myself, making sure I have something for the end of the race.
Kevin, since the restart, Joseph Newgarden has moved up 10 spots. Very impressive, and they actually planned to do a short stint on these primary tires, but instead they are going to leave him out for a while. They're impressed with where the tires have kind of settled in at lap time wise. Same is true for Marco Andretti, right behind him, rounding out the top 10. Marco having a very nice run off of the podium finish. He is 5 seconds back there. There's Marco Andretti coming through the field, currently in the 10th position for Andretti. Thought he'd have a little bit better car early on. He was surprised, sliding around way too much, Kevin.
I think we would all agree this is a really solid return to IndyCar so far for A.J. Allmendinger. He was most nervous about qualifying, got through that, and he also got through that first pit stop, and they wanted to have a clean out, and they did. They waited for Anna Beatrice to pit, so he came out clean in stop number 1. Right behind him is Sebastian Bourdais. Allmendinger, one of his former rivals in Champ Car, the 4-time champion, may have started in the back, but he felt like he had a good car, so nobody in the Dragon area is really surprised that they've been able to work their way up through the field, Jan.
And right behind, of course, Takuma Sato trying to put some pressure on Bourdais. They're still trying to shake off that penalty that he received in qualifying after impeding some qualifying laps from behind, in this case for Justin Wilson. And again, track position is everything. Sato trying to get more.
Well, Sebastian Saavedra currently in 14th, coming off the 20th place finish at St. Pete. The car, he screamed on the radio before the first stop, way too loose for Sebastian Saavedra. They did make several changes to it. It's gotten a little bit better, but he is clearly way behind there. You see him in the white car, almost locking up the brakes right there. Right behind him, Justin Wilson trying to get another spot from Sebastian Saavedra coming through the field. Remember, after that bad pit stop, restarted 19th. He's looking all around Sebastian Saavedra, trying to get one more position. Currently, Justin Wilson in the 15th spot, Jan.
Simona Di Silvestro would love to close that gap that you can see now behind Justin Wilson, but her car is getting loose. She's called in, it's getting loose. They say, you've got to hang on to it. Can't do a thing until we get into the pit window for fuel. Amazing, because this car has been just dialed in most of the weekend. Now she's battling.
Tony Kanaan back in the 17th position, trying to hang on to a race car that's sliding all over the place. As it's getting warmer, clearly the track changing. A lot of these guys trying to chase the track as well. TK trying to gain one more spot. And Oriol Serbia is behind him. They wound up never changing the rear wing because of that bumper. The right rear bumper still kind of flopping around out there. They thought they would lose too much time and too much track position if they did change it. Kevin?
J.R. Hildebrand running in 19th. He started in the 24th position. He was hoping for better things here. They had a good preseason preseason test felt good on Friday and Saturday morning. Qualifying did not go the way they wanted it to, but they still feel like they have an opportunity for a good finish today. Right behind him is E.J. Viso. It's a big year for him. It's a great opportunity. He said, I just need to trust the team. I have the speed. I need to find the stability and attack when I should. Ed Carpenter is running in the next position in the 21st spot. As the guys in the booth have talked about, Ed is still a little bit behind the pace on these road and street courses, but he has made tremendous progress. They're putting a lot of their resources into the oval package, but he has been working on the road and street course setup, and they are making some progress.
Thanks, boys. Awesome work. Now we go to the front of the field where, Wally, it is on, because here comes Castro Neves. He is reeling Ryan Hunter-Reay in. This is the most pressure Ryan's seen since about lap 5.
Well, he's on light. He's got a lighter fuel load, and Elio is on the red, so he should be a little bit quicker, but he is going to have to come in for fuel pretty soon.
I think what's going on here is that Castro Neves last pitted on lap 18, Hunter-Reay on 26. Castro Neves on a 3-stop strategy, I think, can burn more fuel. Hunter-Reay on lap 26, it would need to really stretch his fuel here. His lap times have dropped down into the minute 11s where he was easily in the 10s before.
Sebastian Saavedra pulling off those red tires we talked about a moment ago, putting on sticker black tires. Remember, they did have a problem on their last stop, trying to get as full as they can, and once again the car will not go. Now they get it cranked once again. Sebastian leaving pit road but losing time every time on pit road.
Frustration for the young man for Dragon Racing. Elio is in. Second place, Castro Neves for Penske is in.
4 tires and fuel. 4 tires and fuel.
You heard John Erickson say it would be 4 tires and fuel.
3, 2, 1. Hit your mark.
And what they're going is they're going with scrub reds.
Bring the reds up.
Always a reminder to keep on the brakes, and they waited until the last possible moment, but that was over 10 seconds. Amazing how Will Power can get a full tank in 7 and change. For Castro Neves, it took 10.
Frank Kitty is in from a top 10 run. Has he got dramas? He seems to be running very slow.
Speed. That is below pit speed. He could be out of fuel.
Out of fuel, possibly, yeah.
I don't know, though. He last pitted on 18. We're now at lap 42. That's only 24 laps.
Yeah, he was the same as Castro Neves. And look.
Yeah, there's some issues.
Yeah, guys, something's wrong with the car. The team is talking to him. It's an electrical problem. Dario just told the guys it is an electrical issue. Dario's selling him. It's in neutral right now, but the engine is not running correctly, so they're going to take the back cover off. And how can they afford this championship-wise, guys? Finishing last week, and a problem again this week for Dario Franchitti.
Unbelievable, isn't it? For a 4-time champ, race leader is in. Here's Hunter-Reay.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay gets these sticker black tire or scuffed black tires off for scuffed red tires. Once again, Mike Landretti making the call with scuffed tires, hoping they'll come in quicker. Keep this in mind. They have a couple of sticker sets still in the pit box for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Should he need it, he leaves pit road once again. No changes to the car.
And that was Castro Neves coming down. Kevin, tell us about Dixon.
He's happy to have this opportunity because the car was not to his liking with the handling in that segment, but he was able to hang on to position. He'll get in with a routine stop. This is scuffed red, scuffed alternate tires in this segment for Scott Dixon.
I tell you what, it is on at the front in this one here at Barber Motorsports Park. How quickly was Ryan Hunter-Reay able to get out? Here comes Takuma Sato for AJ Foyt Racing.
And this is a case where they're going from black primary to red alternate for Takuma Sato. These are also scrubbed, and wow, that was quick, but it can't get into gear. Fuel is done, but there's no drive. Oh, a clutch issue or some sort of gearbox-related issue for Takuma Sato. Wow, what a bad break.
Every time things seem to go right for Takuma Sato.
And this just feels like an eternity when you're sitting there. Here comes Kimball.
So on pit stop cycle, Kimball has inherited the lead.
I'm not sure if it's legal or not, but I just ordered a pizza for Hinch because I think he's still sitting down there.
Tough day for our opening round winner. It has been a day to remember for this man, Charlie Kimball. Will it work out that way? Back in a moment.
Any moment not riding it is a moment you wish you were. Can-Am Spyder, with exclusive Y-frame design and patented vehicle stability system, you've never felt so connected to the road. Discover riding reinvented at canam.brp.com. Ride a Can-Am Spyder now for as low as $199 a month.
Over the years, car enthusiasts have relied on premium-grade Brazilian Carnauba to keep their cars finished looking showroom new. Today, Mother's California Gold Brazilian Carnauba Cleaner Wax embraces and improves upon this tradition with an easy-to-use one-step process. That's why generations have come to trust Mother's signature gloss, unparalleled shine, and durable, long-lasting protection. Mother's Brazilian Carnauba Cleaner Wax. Pure California Gold.
You know what always kept America moving forward, America?
Change! We didn't like the shape of chickens, so we changed them to nuggets. We grew tired of saying, "Greetings, dear friend," so we changed it to "Sup." We changed man bands into boy bands. We gotta change that back. And sports drinks were boring, so we changed that with new Fit, a sports drink with electrolytes you can flavor your way. Change your sports drink. Change America.
Formula One drivers take measures of ambition, obsession, and drive. Mixed with perfection, focus, composure, control. Inject dashes of daring, charisma, and class. Equal parts pattern, Picasso, Bond. Action, reaction, man plus machine. Life at the speed of F1. Formula One Racing, UBS Chinese Grand Prix. Live Saturday night at 2:30 a.m. Eastern on the NBC Sports Network.
Watching the IZOD IndyCar Series on the NBC Sports Network, and the pressure is on at the front. Power, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Helio Castroneves. This is good stuff, Marty.
Race leader Charlie Kimball pitting here. They actually lost a lug from the left rear tire and shot down pit road, so they may have lost a little bit of time. Interesting, though, a lot of guys wanted to get the black primary tires off. They put another set on, so we'll see how that plays out in the race. Kevin?
Great pit location for A.J. Allmendinger. A clean in. He is at the far end of pit road. The first stop. Stop number 2 is good for Allmendinger. By the way, he's been confirmed to run Long Beach, and Roger Penske told me today we might put him in Detroit after Indy as well. Marty?
Watching us from Quad, so just be smart there.
Guys, Justin Wilson trying to gain that track position, getting back up through the field. They put on scuff reds this time for Justin Wilson as he leaves pit road as we watch what could be the battle for the win. Who knows? Will Power and Ryan Hunter-Reay duking it out.
Oh, this is great stuff. 2 Penske's in an Andretti Autosport machine. 1, 2, and 3.
And Castroneves has made up probably about 3 seconds, 4 seconds, while Hunter-Reay has been trying to get past Power. So look at how close. Now you got all 3 of them nose to tail.
You got Hunter-Reay and Castroneves on the reds. Power is on the blacks on a 2-stop strategy. We think trying to hang on here. We know those black tires are a little slower. Dario is done, it looks like. Well, he's not out of the car, so presumably they're going to try to get him fixed.
2 races to forget, though, to kick the 2013 season off. Big names for the big positions up front. Power, Hunter-Reay, Castroneves. 3 Chevrolet-powered cars, 1, 2, and 3. And this is tight. Elio's going to be relentless on Hunter-Reay.
And this is where it really starts getting frustrating when you're Hunter-Reay, because obviously he thinks he's quicker. He'd like to get around Will. Will's doing a great job staying in front of him on those blacks, but he looks in the mirror and sees all of a sudden that he is slower because he's got Castroneves right on his tail now.
Power's got the blacks. We know he's probably a little short on grip. He's also trying to stretch the fuel. He's got another, we think, maybe 13, 14 laps of hanging on here before he can stop.
Now remember, it was one of our themes at the top of the show. This place has been owned by Penske in qualifying and in the races. And the man out in front in that black and white Verizon car, Will Power, has won the last 2 in a row. He's going for the 3-peat here. Dixon is putting pressure on Simona Di Silvestro for the 6th spot. It's been a good drive for Simona to get up there, launch herself as well. Frustrated with qualifying, but has just remained focused and on task.
Another situation here. Dixon on the red tire, Simona on blacks. And loose there.
Into the second half of this race. 43 to go in this 90-lap event.
Wally, there's nothing harder, as you know, than knowing you've got a grip deficiency and knowing you've got a certain number of laps you've got to hang on, just like Will Power's doing right now at the front. Simona's got the same issue. You're trying to stay tidy. You're trying to conserve the grip that you have available. At the same time, you've got Scott Dixon over you. Look at this. Oh, contact.
Oh. We said a little while ago that Castroneves was going to be relentless on the champion, and he is. Has Hunter-Reay got damage?
Real nice. Shoot a band.
That was the call from John Erickson to Helio Castroneves.
Guys, Ryan Hunter-Reay just came on the radio, said, I know our cars touch wheels. And Michael Andretti told him 30 seconds before that, just keep Helio behind you. That's all you have to worry about. Don't worry about power. Keep the 3 behind you. Obviously, he couldn't do that.
Yeah, no problem, boss.
Dixon on Simona Di Silvestro. Keep in mind, Simona has only stopped once. She needs to stop again. So that'll make life easier for the target car of Scott Dixon. Simon Pagenaud a little further back in 8th place. Vautier is 9th. And Joseph Newgarden for Sarah Fisher-Hartman Racing continues the charge. He's in the top 10. Let's show you what happened down in turn 5. You look at the view from the Verizon car of Will Power. Hunter-Reay on the right in the yellow car, Castro Neves on the left.
Oh, he locked it. Hunter-Reay locked up the left front, and he actually was the one who slid into Castro Neves on that.
Castro Neves gets a run. Hunter-Reay chooses the inside line, being proactive, but he's going to come down here, and Lee, as you pointed out, boom, locks up right there, slides right into Castro Neves. Looks like they should be okay.
Here's Simona. We mentioned that second stop was close. Jan?
And she's going with sticker primary blacks here. These are her favorite sets of tires. She did so well, and they made a front wing change anytime you go from red to black. They'll make a front wing change, so she's back underway on her favorite set, but she's got some ground to make up.
Her car was good on the black tires. She really liked the way the car felt, the balance.
She ran 16 laps on reds this morning. I'm stunned that she would go back on blacks.
She comes back out. Sebastian Bourdais also went in for a service.
Just follow up on this. Her car was really loose when they put the reds on in qualifying, and they tried to get the reds to work in the warm-up, and I think they felt that the blacks gave her a better balance, and that's what she was comfortable on.
One of the intriguing things about the IZOD IndyCar Series, you only get 3 sets of the softer compound red wall tires per weekend, and you don't get access to them until qualifying. So the teams don't have a lot of data and a lot of time on these softer compound tires in a race weekend.
You can see Will Power is really starting to struggle there. He's trying to hang on, stretch his fuel, make it a 2-stop race, pushing wide there at the apex, locking up the left front there in the brake zone, and that is it. Castro Neves goes by.
Castro Neves is the new race leader. How about that? It's still Penske, but we've got a different order. And Hunter-Reay has made up that time that he lost. Now he gets another shot at Will Power.
Going to be a sense of urgency here for Hunter-Reay. I've got to get by because I bet Elio's going to disappear in the distance.
Back in 4th and a good distance back, some 9 seconds is Charlie Kimball in 4th, Dixon's 5th.
Of course, you've documented that Will Power was trying to save some fuel. He's about 6 laps away from coming onto pit road, but that's still short of what you want to make a 2-stop race. So things are unraveling, in my opinion, here for Will Power because he has to back off. He's got intense pressure from behind, and I'm not sure they've had enough yellow for him to make it in 2 stops.
Totally agree, Jan. He went 31 on his first fuel stint. He needs to get to maybe laps 59, maybe another 8 laps here.
And all the while, this is playing out beautifully for Castro Neves.
Hunter-Reay on the push-to-pass right there.
He's got that sense of urgency.
Well,
I'm surprised he used it because he wasn't that close, but he knows he's got to stay with Elio.
And I'm not sure Power's going to make it as easy on Hunter-Reay as he did on his teammate.
You get 10 opportunities in this race to use the push-to-pass. This is the fight for second between Penske's Will Power and Andretti Autosport's Ryan Hunter-Reay.
And as Townsend said, Castro Neves is just checking out right now.
Anyway, if there's no yellow.
Quick reminder about Verizon streaming. Download the IndyCar 13 app. Simply call ** Indy or search the App Store or Google Play. Of course, only from Verizon. This is good, and it's not going to go away. We have to just briefly, but there's going to be so much more action when we come back. If you hadn't heard the news earlier in the program, the good news is that this terrific city here in the south, in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, is going to play host to the IZOD IndyCar Series for another 3 years through 2016. Let's bring you up to date with a race recap. Boy, it was a crazy start riding on board with Scott Dixon. Look at the Verizon car of Will Power off track, and up ahead, Marco Andretti sweeps around into 3rd place. It was crazy stuff down into the museum turn. Collision between Graham Rahal, Oriel Serbia, and James Hinchcliffe, and that had greater consequences for the GoDaddy machine. Let's scoot ahead to lap 17. There has been action, action, action. Charlie Kimball on the rookie Tristan Vautier, almost trying to pull off a move at one of the fastest places on this track. This battle was one to remember. Let's go to lap 43, almost the halfway mark of this event, and you'll see Simon Pagenaud make a move on Dario Franchitti, and we believe It is a broken header for the number 10 Ganassi machine. Tell us more about this car, Marty.
Well, and Lee, I can confirm it is a broken header. They actually thought it was an electrical issue. They got the ECU fixed. He lost all power, but it is a broken header for Dario Franchitti. This is twice this season for the Honda engine, so I think they're going to have a little bit of research to do here in the next few weeks.
Can you believe what must be going through his head? He's a 4-time champion. 2 weeks ago, he finished 25th. He's 25th today at the moment.
Look at this guy go. He got by Will Power. He's gapped him 8 seconds almost, 7.1 seconds so far. Hunter Ray's got to be desperate to get around.
But here's the thing. Okay, right now they pitted. They're only 1 lap separate on when Castroneves last pitted and Hunter Ray last. Did Hunter Ray come in earlier than usual?
Expected.
Because, they're basically on the same strategy right now. If you remember, Castroneves pitted very early, like Will Power did last year, to put himself in a position to win this race. If this goes the way it looks like it's going, Castroneves is in a great spot.
Because earlier, Wally, to your point, there were 8 laps difference in terms of their run between Hunter Ray and Castroneves. Now there's only 1 lap difference.
And guys, they did pit a little bit earlier. They wanted to do a short stint on those primary tires, so they got the red, softer compound tires on. They felt like that would be better for Ryan Hunter Ray on these last couple of runs.
But now he's hung up, and like Townsend talked about, he's losing about a second a lap to Castroneves. Hunter Ray is.
First, second, third all have 1 more stop.
There you have it. This is the fight for second. Meanwhile, is Charlie Kimball starting to gain a little bit of ground on these guys? We'll look for that race with Insulin.com. Ganassi machine in the background. It's Ganassi, in fact, 4th and 5th. 6th is Simon Pagenaud. That has been a storming drive today. Vautier, his teammate, is 7th. Marco Andretti is 8th. Justin Wilson is hanging tough in 9th. And Joseph Newgarden is in the top 10. There's Pagenaud. He's gaining ground on the Ganassi machines. Watch that HP car for Schmidt-Hamilton Motorsports. This has been a really impressive drive from the Frenchman.
And it's really what we expected from him at St. Pete. Didn't quite get that. They had the mechanical issue, and they've been slowly marching their way back to the front.
A lot of people have been saying, Townsend, Wally, Pagenaud, he's got the sophomore slump. No way. If you know Simon Pagenaud, that guy doesn't allow himself to get in a slump.
No, he is all about constant, intense improvement. He analyzes every performance, every lap, all the data. He works very, very hard, constantly improving. Now, here's a guy still waiting for pizza, our points leader, Wally. Talk about never giving up. He hasn't gotten out of the car yet. He's still waiting to get that yellow that hasn't come.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. I mean, obviously, I don't know what they could accomplish even if they got the car back on the racetrack. At this point, there's so many laps down, but very frustrating for Hitch.
He's right out in the middle of the circuit. You can see the turn 5 hairpin there. You can see the back straight heading up towards 9, 10. And the season that started out so beautifully for Michael Andretti and his Andretti Autosport team, the GoDaddy team, it's all taken a 180-degree turn here. However, he still has one man in the mix, and that is Ryan Hunter Ray running 3rd. Tell us more about the GoDaddy car, though, Jan.
Well, we can talk to Craig Hampson. Why have you left him out so long in the car?
Well, they changed the rules this year as regards to the points. Every position is worth a different in points. So we were waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting in the hope we could get the car back so that we could get back out there. Obviously now it's past half distance. There is no way for us to improve position. We've got other reasons. We want to make sure that everything's okay with the car before Long Beach. We'll probably pull the plug here at some point, but he's been in good enough humor to stick with us, and so if we get an opportunity to run the car again, we'd like to do so.
And in fact, the whole crew has stayed in position here on pit lane, waiting and hoping they'll get another shot.
Guys, as we watch the battle of Hunter Ray trying to get around Will Power again, don't forget, we've gone green this whole time. This is a track that is more physical than probably any other place on the schedule, Wally. These guys have got to start feeling that right now.
Yeah, I would think so. You're absolutely, there's no place to really rest on this racetrack. So you're right.
4 different race leaders here today at Barber Motorsports Park. Charlie Kimball, Elio Castroneves, Will Power, and the car we're looking back at, the yellow DHL Andretti Autosport Chevrolet of Ryan Hunter Ray. Just 32 laps to go. 2/3 of this race have gone, and we have had plenty go down here in Alabama.
And it looks like Kimball and Dixon behind these two guys are starting to make up some ground here as well on these two.
Well, we know Will's in fuel save mode. He's not doing what he's capable of in outright pace, so they're going to catch up.
No pressure behind Simon Pagenaud as he focuses on that red target machine. There's Pagenaud in the HP Honda, riding with Dixon. And this is something Scott's not used to seeing. No disrespect to Charlie Kimball, but he's not used to seeing that race with Insulin Machine ahead of him.
There is no reason to think that Charlie can't continue this now at every event through the rest of the season. One of the most difficult tracks, he is showing that he has got top form.
Charlie Kimball has stood on an IZOD IndyCar podium before in Toronto, but he's not run at the front this often in his career. This is a huge shot in the arm. It's a huge boost for him. This is massive. Pressure down in turn 5. Hunter Ray as close as he's ever been to power. Dixon is as close as he's been to Kimball. Look at this. Ryan Hunter-Ray dropped the right side wheels off the track on the grass before trying to get around Will Power and couldn't successfully do it. These guys have been at it forever, Wally.
Yeah, that place is, unless somebody slips coming out of that last corner, it's really a tough place to make a pass going into that next one.
And Hunter-Ray knows. He's been there before with Briscoe, if you remember, from a couple years ago. He stuck his nose in there. It ended in tears for both of them.
Race lead is 10.8 seconds to the benefit of Helio Castro-Neves, the man who won the very first race here at Barber.
Power's in.
So enough's enough.
Now, Will Power, I'm quite sure, is going to want those red tires back.
And it looks to me, Townsend, as though he has gone far enough for this to be his final stop. But when he gets back out, he'll still be in fuel save mode. He will not be able to stand on it because they're right on the edge of making it.
He will yawn, but he'll be on red tires. I'll be really curious to see what the lap times look like.
Reset your fuel.
Now you'll hear this neutral. This is a neutral rev limiter. And he got into gear very quickly. That was the problem they had in the last race. They've been practicing all weekend, so he's quick in the pits.
Right now.
But now he has to save fuel big time.
So cycles back out as we get into the final third of this race. The Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama. Don't go anywhere. Can Helio get his second win here?
It's the end of an era.
All the parties. The stories.
I'm gonna miss your smell.
You were my first.
What? I knew it. I knew it.
It's true.
Oh, man, I'm sorry I broke your leg.
I wrote a song. Sorry. Here we go.
Keep the good times going with the crisp, refreshing taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Whoa. Check out this new couch.
Woo! Sign a waiver?
Waiver?
Two seats, one for you and one for racing legend Mario Andretti. The fastest seat in sports sweepstakes. Enter for a chance to start an IZOD IndyCar Series race at shophonda.com.
It was the best day. It was the best day. It was the best day. It was the best day because of you.
We make a great pair. Great pair.
Huh?
Progressive and the great outdoors. We make a great pair.
Right, totally. That's what I was thinking.
Covering the things that make the outdoors great. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
One of the iconic landmarks here in Birmingham, Alabama, if you've ever visited this city. High above Red Mountain, that is the Vulcan statue. It is the largest cast iron statue in the world. And it reflects the roots of Birmingham, Alabama with the iron and steel industry. It's 56 feet high. Quick mention about the fastest seat in sports sweepstakes. Just go to honda.com and sign up. You can enter now. As we saw earlier, Bo Jackson got that ride in the IZOD two-seater. Ari Lyondike and Mario Andretti are the drivers. What a wonderful opportunity to go to tracks like Barber Motorsports Park and get in that IZOD two-seater.
Now, Castro-Neves, when we were talking to Jan during the break, pointed out that he has not run the set of blacks yet. So if anybody's got to make hay right now while they can, it's going to be Castroneves.
No question. Here's James Jakes coming off pit lane. He's done a heck of a job, really. I mean, he's getting stronger with each race. I think he's been very happy with his performance relative to his teammate, Graham Rahal. Nice, steady run for him so far today.
In the Acorn Stair Lifts machine. And I think we have yet to see the best of James Jakes in the IZOD IndyCar Series. Here is AJ Allmendinger. Final stop for his race, Kev.
And two flawless stops to start. Roger Penske gave a thumbs up to the crew after each of the first two stops. He was supposed to test in Indianapolis. Oh, the car stalled. The car stalled. So they get the starter out, and they're going to lose precious time on pit road. He's been running close to the top 10 all day. They will get it restarted here. He has been struggling most with that hand clutch this weekend. Don't know if that was an issue there, but that's going to lose him a lot of track position, but it's not catastrophic. We'll get back out and run some laps.
Well, that's, I think, what they were worried about. Mainly, and you can see AJ, he's beating himself up right now about it. You're talking about a guy that's putting a lot of pressure on himself. And as Kevin said, that's going to cost him quite a bit.
Don't know whose fault that was. You see Kimball go blowing by there, so it's going to put AJ, looks like, a lap down.
That's just one of those things of time in car. Time in the machine.
It could be, or, there's been so many issues today with gearboxes and clutches at St. Pete and things like that. I don't necessarily going to put that on AJ right away. We've got to find out what happened.
He's back in the heat of it, though. Here he is right beside Scott Dixon.
He's on cold tires. You know what's going to be fun is to see a mad AJ Allmendinger, see what kind of times he can throw down on sticker reds.
I've been on the golf course plenty of times with AJ when he does a bad drive, and he gets pretty angry. So he is fired up right now.
I just think by his reaction, that was his mistake.
Yeah. So up front, 9.1 seconds in the lead, Helio Castroneves.
One thing on that pit launch, Wally, I didn't hear any revs. I didn't hear like he pinned it on the limiter before he dumped the clutch. He's used to big, heavy stock car. You got the experience there with all the torque, so maybe he thought back to the old days.
Dixon's in. That was the call from Mike Hull in this lap.
Still position 1. Okay, right around these guys. On the board. Concentrate on flare.
Just caught some radio traffic, and Scott Dixon wanted to come in a lap sooner. Remember, last year, he was the car to beat, and they got caught in traffic in their last stint. So we'll see where he comes out on track here, but it's a routine stop, and they had sticker reds to go in this last stint for Scott Dixon.
And it was very comfortable to beat the guy that he was fighting with out on the track, Simon Pagenaud, out of the lane. So status quo as far as positions with those two drivers. Castroneves' lead has dropped in half on that last lap. It's down to 4.8 seconds.
It is, and he should have to pit soon.
Out goes Bourdais, out goes Newgarden. All clear. They're good to go to the end of this race. And Tony Kanaan in.
Take your fuel. Outside.
So for the final time today, they exit pit lane. Well, they hope so anyway.
Clear pit out. Go, go, go.
This is Charlie Kimball for the final time. Entering pit lane from third place on has been a day to remember for Charlie Kimball.
Terrifically, and they're trying to hang on to that podium finish after back-to-back stints on the primary tires, putting on some scuffed red tires. A little bit slow on the left front, trying to get that lug on, taking a little bit extra time. Hopefully not losing too much. We'll see if he cycles out still ahead of his teammate, Scott Dixon.
Boy, it's going to be close, Marty. Dixon is really up to speed, and I think he's going to lose that spot.
Tristan Vautier, who was really in the thick of it earlier on today.
They also were a team, and you may see as he swings out that Castroneves is now getting ready for his stop. He had saved, Vautier had saved a sticker set of reds. He has them on now. We'll see Castroneves go for sticker blacks.
And we didn't see anything on track, and I just want to amend something. We just had a little glitch here with our timing. His lead, Helio Castroneves' lead, was not cut in half. As he enters pit lane, he's still got in excess of 8.5 seconds on Ryan Hunter-Ray, who is right there.
And he's going to need that 8.5 seconds. Again, John Erickson on the radio. For some reason, he has to wait. There's something going on with Castroneves to where it's taking him longer longer today to get fuel, and that cost him a lot of time on pit road.
Yeah, that cut that 8 seconds down to about half, John.
Yeah. And as the guys behind him, was a quick stop for Ryan Hunter-Reay, sticker red. So this is going to be a great duel. You've got Helio Castroneves on those sticker primary tires, and you've got Ryan Hunter-Reay on those sticker red tires. Should be very interesting. Marco Andretti also on pit road. His car coming back to life here in the second half of the race. He too, sticker reds here on this last stop.
We have been green since lap 7. This has been a hard, long, frantic run.
And this is where the pit in and pit out really make a difference on this part of the race right here.
Simona Di Silvestro in for the final time.
And she has also saved herself a sticker set of reds. Sato is pitting right ahead. Remember, Sato had trouble getting away, and Simona needs to know that. They add weight, and now she's got to swing around. Just enough room for her to get by.
So Sato out ahead of Simona Di Silvestro. This is the scramble to home, 22 and a half laps to go.
We've got Justin Wilson currently in second, but he has to make another stop. This is going to come down to Castroneves, Hunter-Reay, and a power.
Where will it filter out as far as Dixon, Kimball, Pagano as well? Do they have a shot at the podium? There is Helio Castroneves in the AAA machine. He was the first of the front runners to stop way back earlier in this race. Is that strategy going to work out for him to the end?
When you smoke, it affects more than just your health. I love to dance. That's something that I handed down to my family. I was pretty good at it too, before my doctor told me that secondhand smoke at work caused me to have asthma attacks, infections, and lung damage. And I never smoked. I can't work there anymore. And I can't dance much anymore either.
If you or someone you know wants free help to quit smoking, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
The crossover. We have the technology to rebuild it. SkyActiv technology makes it better than it was before. With the best highway fuel efficiency of any SUV, even hybrids. The Mazda CX-5 will be that crossover. Better, stronger, smarter. We build Mazdas. What do you drive?
What do you call a machine that combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused design? We call it a Can-Am. From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side we build. And right now, get your own for as low as $149 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
I don't drive a race car every day, but when I do, it has to be ready. At the race shop or at home, that means Deltran Battery Tender. Deltran battery tenders don't just charge batteries, they automatically switch to a smart maintenance mode that keeps your battery at its peak charge. With protection from overcharging and easy to understand LED indicators, Deltran battery tenders maintain my most valuable equipment. If you can't start it, you can't drive it.
We're back at Barber Motorsports Park here on the NBC Sports Network. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Wally Dallenbach, Jan Beekers, Marty Snyder and Kevin Lee. It has been a wonderful day here in the South. And will it be that way? Will the sun continue to shine on Helio Castroneves? Check this out from just a moment ago as we ride on board with Scott Dixon. And this is Will Power up ahead. Big inside move. Key overtaking point. Turn 5. Simple as that. Easily done there for Scott Dixon. So that moves Dixon into a podium place position. You've got the inaugural IZOD IndyCar race winner here at Barber, Helio Castroneves, leading the way, and a man who has never had a top 10 in an IndyCar race here at Barber Motorsports Park, Ryan Hunter-Reay. It's down to those guys. It's 2 seconds. Who's going to win it?
Or trail, Polaris has what you want. Legendary ATVs, led by the powerful Sportsman 850 HO. Value-minded side-by-sides, featuring the new Ranger 800 midsize. And full-size workhorses, including the all-new class-leading 60-horsepower Ranger XP 900. Polaris. Hardest working, smoothest riding. Huge rebates and low financing are available right now during the Polaris XP sales event.
California is famous for lots of things. Cars and technology are just two of them. Now Mothers brings car care and technology together with California Gold Synthetic Wax. Ultra-fine polishes bring out that Mother's signature gloss and deep, wet shine, while specially formulated polymers form a chemical bond that protects your paint surface. Easy on, easy off, in the shade or in the sun. Mother's Synthetic Wax. Pure California Gold.
You know what always kept America moving forward, America?
Change! We didn't like the shape of chickens, so we changed them to nuggets. We grew tired of saying, "Greetings, dear friend," so we changed it to "Sup." We changed man bands into boy bands. We gotta change that back. And sports drinks were boring, so we changed that with new BioFit. A sports drink with electrolytes you can flavor your way. Change your sports drink. Change America.
The command has been given. Row 1, let me know. Row 1 on. Row 2 on. 3 on. 5 on. Cars rolling.
Live in-car cameras. 4-in-1 mosaic. Having your heart race as fast as theirs.
Here we go.
Hey, good screen. That's powerful.
Come to the green flag.
Download IndyCar 13 now, only from Verizon.
Fight continues at the front. Elio Castro Neves in the AAA Penske Chevrolet versus the DHL Andretti Autosport Chevrolet. It's a race for the two at the top. However, keep an eye in the background for Scott Dixon in the Target Chip Ganassi machine as we finally see an empty and vacated GoDaddy Chevrolet for Andretti Autosport. James Hinchcliffe, his day is done. And this happened just a few moments ago. Wally, this looked like Townsend this morning at the hotel.
Wally, I think he gave up on your pizza, and he's just saying, I'm going to go get some lamb lollipops.
The pizza's in the truck. There's a little dining room in there.
All right, back to the serious business. This is it. It's on. Dixon's coming in third. He's only 3.5 seconds behind Castro Neves.
I think if Castro Neves doesn't make a mistake, it's going to be very difficult for Hunter Ray to get by. The opportunities to pass here are very slim.
And it's going to help Scott Dixon close the gap here quite quickly.
Here's the spot. If Castro Neves doesn't lock up here and give it away, Hunter Ray is going to have his hands full.
You want to know how good Scott Dixon is at chasing the rabbit? He started 20th at St. Petersburg 2 weeks ago and finished 5th, the highest placed Honda. He is still the highest placed Honda in this race, chasing 2 Chevrolet powered cars, 3 different teams in the top 3 positions. This is good. Penske, Andretti, Ganassi, the big names in the top positions.
Absolutely. And Dixon, I felt, had the strongest car and morning warm-up over the course of the full stint. All of these guys, thankfully, don't have to save fuel. We are at full power. We're going to race to the finish.
Through the final turn onto the front stretch yet again. A little further back in the pack is Charlie Kimball fighting for 4th place with Will Power. Pagenaud is right there in the mix as well. Marco Andretti running 7th. Justin Wilson in 8th. Vautier 9th. And Joseph Newgarden in 10th. Incidentally, Sebastian Bourdais, Joseph Newgarden, biggest movers in this race today, making up 12 spots from their starting position.
And if you're in Castro Neves' position right now as a driver, it's very nerve-wracking. You know the guy behind you's got better tires than you do, and you've got your hands full. You're watching your mirrors as much as you're watching straight. This is a long time between now and the finish and try to keep somebody behind you. It's tough.
What you have to do is give up a little bit on corner entry and make sure you get clean exits every time, laying the power down without wheel spin.
And most importantly, don't mess it up under braking. If you lock up that tire going into the corner, that's going to be a big opening for the guy you're racing.
In regards to Castro Neves, we talked about the fact he lost a little bit of time on pit road because of fuel. I checked with the team. They say there's nothing wrong with the apparatus. We got all the fuel. We just didn't get connected quickly enough. So that's why it seemed to take a long time on the back end of the stop. But, Marty, there was also a few issues for Hunter Ray in the pits as well.
Well, his stop wasn't exactly quick, but they have certainly made up the ground since then. They put on those sticker red tires, a little bit softer. You see him trying to gain that ground on Helio Castroneves. They are not keeping him updated about Castroneves. They are keeping him updated, though, on Scott Dixon. That's the one they're worried about. He smells the blood in the water and wants to get by Castroneves sooner rather than later. Look at that move, Lee.
Turn 5, Marty. Ryan Hunter Ray on the inside. Can Helio switch back? And first class seat to Scott Dixon. He's seeing all this happen in front of him. Wow, nice move, Ryan Hunter Ray.
Now, what's got to happen is Dixon is going to have a real sense of paranoia. I got to get by Castroneves. I know he's on blacks. I know he's slower, and Hunter Ray's going to disappear here quickly.
Think about how desperate Scott Dixon is. Scott Dixon has been the runner-up here 3 years in a row. He's tired of looking at the winner ahead of him. How quickly can Hunter Ray escape? That's the other question that needs to be answered.
Let's see if he tries to get clever here. Thinking maybe he might duck inside. No, he can't get close enough. He's going to have to wait.
Time is on. 15 laps to go. That's about to become 14.
Hey, good job, good job. 14.
Not quite close enough to use the push to pass as far as Dixon goes. He needs to really set him up in this next series of corners, try to get fast enough to try to get the push to pass to work going into 5.
That's a great demonstration of the difference in grip right there in that long duration right-hander. You can see Elio waiting. Here it is. Push to pass. He's on the button.
Gotcha. Down the inside at turn 5. Classic spot here at Barber. Now we've got a fight at the front. These two will eke away from Helio Castroneves. It will be a Chevrolet Honda Andretti Ganassi fight to win this race. Through the museum turn. Another one completed. How quickly can Dixon make up that deficit to the yellow car to Ryan Hunter Ray? Can he get by him and finally shake that jinx of Barber? Turn 3 runner-ups into a victory. This incredible racing venue created by Mr. George Barber more than a decade ago is the biggest philanthropic act in the history of the city of Birmingham and the state of Alabama. It is amazing. When he is no longer with us, we hope is not for a very long time, this will remain the property of the state of Alabama and the city of Birmingham, which is a wonderful gift from George Barber. We love visiting here, and we're going to be coming here for a lot longer through 2016, a new 3-year deal done for the IZOD IndyCar Series. We're looking at race leader Ryan Hunter Ray, who boasts just a little bit more than a 1-second lead over the Target Chip Ganassi pilot Scott Dixon. This will be fascinating over the final 10.5 laps. We're right on board with Charlie Kimball, and Charlie, while we were away, got by Will Power for 4th place. This is really important stuff for Charlie Kimball to be fighting with guys like Will Power. This is how he did it.
That was a great move right there. He set him up, and he stuck it in there. That's just aggressive race car driving right there.
That's like a slide job at 140 miles an hour.
And I think they put themselves in a little bit of a box, staying on those blacks too long.
Whoa!
That's brave.
I don't know that was premeditated. I'm not sure why Will had to slow up so much. I know he's saving fuel, but that was a really early lift.
Team manager Mitch Davis, race engineer Brad Goldberg, team principal Chip Ganassi all said, Charlie, this is your 3rd year. It's time to step up and deliver, and they are. Charlie Kimball is showing us a Charlie Kimball like we have never seen before.
Well, Lee, I think there's a lot of pride in Mitch Davis, and is this the best drive you've ever seen from him, Mitch?
Yeah, we had a couple good runs last year, but we worked really hard over the winter. You know, our boss isn't very patient. He wants to see some results here. And Charlie, this team, everybody, I mean, the Target team helps us. Everybody works together as a team. And this thing's on rails today because we're all one big team and we go racing forward all the time.
I got to ask you, it's really come to life again on these reds. You kind of wish now you wouldn't have done the back-to-back stints on the black primary tires?
Well, because we qualified so well, we didn't have enough reds, so we had to run those 2 sets of blacks, so we shortened it up as much as we could, and then we just unleashed him on this set of reds, and we'll see what we can get out of this race with Insulin, Novo Nordisk, Charlie Kimball race car.
What an impressive day for this bunch. Right now, currently, Charlie Kimball, 4th, guys.
And you know how deep the Kimball family Ganassi story runs? The reason why Charlie runs the 83, as we get to the battle, look at this between twin Frenchmen, Bourdais on Vautier. This is good stuff. Vautier had to yield a little earlier to Joseph Newgarden, who incidentally is up to 9th and has stormed away. And now Sebastian Bourdais wants to break into the top 10 for the second consecutive year.
Wally, what were we going to say about Ganassi and Kimball?
I was going to say, in 1983, it was the year that Chip Ganassi himself drove a car designed by Gordon Kimball. That's why Charlie runs the 83. Those two family names, the history runs very deep.
Charlie's doing a great job, but we did see some pretty significant left front lock up there going into turn 5. He's got to be careful he doesn't flat spot a tire there.
Yeah, he's got some ground. If he wants that podium, he's got to catch Castroneves. He is catching Castroneves, and I think if he keeps this pace up, he's going to get to him with about 2 or 3 laps to go.
Here is your order. Only 1 second separates first and second. Hunter-Reay and Dixon. Castroneves is third. Kimball is fourth. Power is fifth. Pagenaud is 6th, Andretti is 7th, Wilson is 8th, Newgarden is 9th. Joseph has never finished in the top 10 in his IndyCar career, and Tristan Vautier, who we're watching now, is trying to keep Sebastian Bourdais, a 4-time open wheel champion, out of the top 10.
Lee, we are going to see some exhausted racing drivers. It has gone green for 82 laps, 8 laps to go. These guys have got to be just flat slammed, Wally.
Yeah, and you can see they're just hanging on to these cars right now. What's been great to see is the difference between the Firestone Reds and Blacks. We're seeing some difference here. It's making the racing absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant, just brilliant. It has just mixed it up. On board with the Acorn stairlifts machine of James Jakes, the day has not worked out the way that he would have liked it to. But as we said earlier in the show, this young English driver has got so much potential in the Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan car, and we're going to see a lot more of him this year. The National Guard machine for Panther Racing of J.R. Hildebrand. J.R. at the moment is running in the 17th position, trying to push as hard as he can to get a top 15 if possible before the day is out. On board the Midas machine, the second Ray Hall car, Graham Rahal, and another gritty performance just like he put in at St. Pete. But frustratingly, it's not going to yield the result he wants. Graham is just outside the top 10 in 13th place.
Yeah, but he was sitting, 25th or 26th when this race started, so that is a massive gain with a race that really hasn't had any cautions but that one.
Yeah. He's on the push to pass there. You just saw him hit the button, try to get around tag here. Tough to really make a pass in this section of the track.
And you guys mentioned the rough start to the day. 2 pit stops before we were 20 laps in for Graham Rahal and a wing change. And when I talked to him Friday, he said this car was just terrible. He said when I was steering the car, it was steering me instead of me being able to steer the car. But they have made drastic improvements on it during the day. And as you said, gritty, gutty finish today for Graham Rahal. They're trying to get close to the top 10. Won't quite get there, Lee, but nonetheless an impressive day.
Yeah, Marty, he's in the same position he finished in at St. Pete. He's trying to go one better and get that 12th. Speaking of a couple of positions ahead, this is Vautier and Bourdais, the 2 French drivers, one a rookie, one a superstar. Former Toro Rosso Formula 1 driver and 4-time Champ Car winner, Sebastian Bourdais, trying to get past this rookie. I asked Sebastian about him. I said, look, I know other drivers don't like to talk about other drivers, but, you know, in the statesman position that you're in this sport, what do you think of Tristan? And he said, the kid is just amazing. The kid is seriously impressive. He's fast.
I think at St. Pete, he impressed everybody. And, I mean, he is doing an unbelievable job. And he is hanging on to that car count. And he's using every curve and every inch of them.
Used to be in this series, it was all about the Brazilians. That was the international flavor that really impressed us in this series. Now we've got 3 Frenchmen with Pagenaud included in these 2 guys. Where'd the French guys come up from, Wally? What up with that?
Hang on, he's saying as much as he did on the GoPro course preview. At least there's no fried chicken, though.
Bourdais getting very close. He's on, how many push to passes left here? He's got 6 left. He's on the button now. Boom, Bourdais is on the button.
Here's the RC Kohler car for Andretti Autosport, and it's Marco Andretti. Marco is running 7th. Remember, he got a podium at St. Pete 2 weeks ago. That'll be a 3rd and a 7th if he remains where he is. That's a super start to the season for Marco Andretti. He said we made a big deal about him going to Rob Wilson, the driver coach in the UK. I spoke to Marco earlier in the weekend, and he said the biggest thing is that he identified where and how I was over-driving the car. And when he brought it to my attention, it was so simple, and now it all makes sense. Does that mean something to you guys?
Well, interesting to help. Bourdais off the track.
Pushing too hard, perhaps.
He's going to lose 3, 4, 5 spots there. Comes out behind Ray Hall, ahead of Viso.
Yeah, Viso's take a little time to get that dirt and gravel worked off those tires.
This is what happened down to the museum turn.
He just got a little loose there on the brakes, entering the 7-8 complex. That really tricky situation. Did a great job to not spin the car. Keep it going in at least the right direction.
So that should consolidate Tristan Vautier's first IndyCar top 10. Remember, he was a non-finisher at St. Petersburg. Back to the lead, and there's less than a second in it. 0.8 of a second between Ryan Hunter-Reay, this car, and the Target Chip Ganassi machine of Scott Dixon.
These two guys are clicking off laps that are a second quicker than the rest of the field. It is like a qualifying lap every single time around. They are pushing 10 tenths.
Now, to the advantage, Hunter-Reay has got 4 push-to-pass left. Dixon only 2. That could make a big difference here on the closing laps.
A couple of our big storylines coming in here. Will the Penske domination continue? We know the answer of that. Well, in 4 laps' time, we will have confirmation of that. The other one was, this man we ride with has had 3 runner-up spots here. Could it be 4? He will go out of his mind if he doesn't win this one. Turn 5, Hunter-Reay locks up. He's feeling the pressure. So too does Dixon.
Yeah, when you see somebody lock the front up in front of you, that's just like smelling blood. That just gets you up even more. I mean, these guys are running for everything they're worth.
And Scott Dixon's results here have been similar to the last few seasons in the championship. As you said, second the last 3 times here, and in the championship he was within reach. Third the last 3 years, the runner-up in 2009 since his second title in 2008. Trying to pick up one more spot here today, Marty.
And it's interesting, Kevin, on the radio, Michael Andretti, about 10 laps ago, was giving the gap between Scott Dixon and Ryan Hunter-Reay. About 4 laps ago, he stopped giving that gap. Sometimes drivers, right, you don't want to know the gap because the gap is shrinking. You don't want to tell your driver that, correct?
Ready to go.
Yeah, well, or you can look in the mirror. But you're right, Marty. You just got to try to stay focused on this thing. Some guys like a lot of that chatter. They want all that information, but there's some drivers that don't. They just want to focus in on what's ahead of them.
Wally, I'm watching closely here. It sure looks like Hunter-Reay starting to slide around just a little bit more.
Michael Andretti and Ryan Hunter-Reay are used to pressure situations. Just take your minds back to Fontana last year for that championship decider. Ryan hadn't led a lap and hasn't won a race since Baltimore last year. This has been good to be back here for him, to be at the front and setting the pace. But he has got a 2-time series champion breathing down his neck in these closing 3.5 laps.
Not sure they're going to catch. I think that was Saavedra in front of them, but obviously traffic can make a real play in here.
Hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to catch it.
We've talked a lot about fitness and the physical demands of this racetrack. Here we are with 3 laps to go. We've gone 87 laps of solid green. This is exactly why these guys ride the bike. They swim in the pool. They're lifting weights. They're working every part of their body in the off season for this moment right here.
Start, finish, and overtake at off of 9. Off of 9.
Down into 1. Just 3 to go.
Again, he
runs a little wide.
Now, that's about the 3rd time he's done that in the last 3 laps. Hunter-Reay we're talking about. He's locking up the tires under braking. Got to be careful of that because if he does it too much, Dixon will be all over him.
He just needs to worry about making sure he minimizes errors here. He doesn't have to drive away. He just needs to keep it clean and steady off the corner. You heard his engineer come on and tell him where to use the push-to-passes that he has remaining, which is in the longest stretch of full throttle coming out of turn 9. Right here, we should see him on the button.
Ryan Hunter-Reay said the result of his pole yesterday was evidence of the team working together with all 4 drivers. There's a great sense of unity at Andretti Autosport at the moment. Is that going to be enough to carry him through to the first victory of the new season and elevate his title defense?
Unless he gets caught up here with this traffic, which I don't believe he will, looks pretty clean.
It's Saavedra in 21st and Armendinger in 20th ahead.
Overtake again, start, finish, and turn 9.
All right, on the way home, 2.38 miles to run. And Dixon, this is his chance. He's got to do something about it. Otherwise, he's going to finish runner-up for the 4th time.
He's going to have to get on the button if he's going to have any chance of getting close, because Hunter-Reay's burning up his, there he goes. Hunter-Reay's burning up his push to pass.
You want to hurry up to get away from the guy behind you, but you don't want to hurry up and get in the traffic ahead of you.
Good point.
Out of 5 for the final time. This short, fast shoot down to the museum complex. Is traffic going to come into play? Dixon's probably as close as he's been to Ryan Hunter-Reay. Half a second in it. Through these fast switchbacks, these change of directions on the run home. Is this going to be Andretti Autosport claiming the first 2 races of the new season while being the defending champions? So many years of Ganassi and Penske dominance. We are seeing the era of Andretti Autosport. Traffic will not come into play. Ryan Hunter-Reay, he's never even finished in the top 10 here. The series champion is now a winner in 2013. Hunter-Reay wins at Barber Motorsports Park. And unbelievably, Dixon finishes runner-up for the 4th year in a row. That shows you just how much it was their race. Penske, the dominance is over, but Helio Castroneves will be on the podium.
This is exactly why Ryan Hunter-Reay is a champion. He had adversity at St. Pete, and he bounced back. He did that all last year. Every time things got tough, he came back strong the next weekend.
Let's go to the Andretti camp. Marty's there.
Well, Michael's listening to what Ryan Hunter-Reay had to say there. Boy, after the adversity at St. Pete, this was needed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's great to come back. You know, team did a great job all weekend, you know, and Ryan did a hell of a job. You know, this is awesome. So happy for DHL and with the DHL car and also Sundrop and everybody, Chevy. It was great to keep their streak going, so it was a good day.
I'm sure for him it was physically exhausting, but for you, how mentally exhausting was this race? Because the strategy was all over the map.
It's tough. It was a tough race because, you know, there were so many different things going on with the tires and all that, and we just had to have faith in our strategy, and it worked.
I don't think his posture changed the entire day. An intense face for Michael Andretti, but he gets his driver to victory lane. Ryan Hunter-Reay wins here at Barber, back with victory lane and many interviews coming up in a moment.
You're watching NBC Sports Network's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Honda, an official vehicle of the IZOD IndyCar Series. I wonder what Vulcan would think of that performance from Ryan Hunter-Reay and Andretti Autosport. What a weekend. They weren't there earlier, but they said they played a clever game with tyre preservation and planning, and they knew their plan and stuck to it for this weekend, and it has yielded the ultimate result for the DHL Sundrop Chevrolet for Ryan Hunter-Reay. What a way to turn it around, because never finishing in the top 10 here and then just bursting onto the scene with a victory as the defending champion. What a weekend too it's been for Chevy. Boys, they had the Rolex Grand Am Series yesterday. It was won by a Chevrolet powered car too.
He's not jumping out of that car, I'm sure, because he's totally exhausted.
Yeah.
You're going to see some tired race car drivers today.
What'd we go? 83 laps.
Yeah,
83 laps green, straight.
Around this place, that's tough.
Yeah.
Got to give a shout out to Newgarden as well. You know, finishing his first top 10, really needed a solid finish.
Terrific performance, and this is just massive for Andretti Autosport. Coming into the season as champions, winning the first race with James Hinchcliffe, and now the champ, RHR, Ryan Hunter-Reay. That was hard work, but standing atop the podium is going to make it all the better. Right, Marty?
Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to believe he had never led a lap at this place before today, and I think you're right, Wally. I think he was in there taking a breath and trying to catch his breath. Did you bite your lip there at the end? I mean, that looked a physically demanding race, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a little contact there with Elio. I feel bad about it. Good thing that nobody was affected by it, but man, driving my tail off trying to stay in front of Dixon. Will did a great job staying in front of me on blacks. Not sure how he did it, but a lot of clean racing out there, and it was just great to get a win for DHL, Sundrop, Circle K, and Chevrolet. We're back in victory lane. Great way to start the season.
Let's talk about how intense those laps were, and also, first of all, the pass on Elio. You said you had a little contact there with Elio, but the pass on him, I knew you had to get around him quickly because you saw the 9 coming, didn't you?
Yeah, I was still inside of him, and I was still inside of Elio, and he came turning down. I just hadn't slowed the car up yet. So luckily it was kind of broadside, and we both continued on, no problem. He took the lead at that point, so his strategy is what bit him in the end.
And you guys struggled here, you told me. What made the difference? Is this team maybe even better than it was last year, Ryan?
I think it is. You know, we've never had a car like this at Barber, so to do that is just unreal. But man, I'm really disappointed my wife and my little boy Ryden aren't here. We're going to have to go win many more for him, but this one's for the little boy at home. It almost brings me to tears thinking he's not here right now, but you know, it is what it is. He's going to Long Beach and all the rest of them, but this is the one that we took off.
An emotional day, but a sweet victory. And I think he wants to celebrate, Kevin, but I believe he's a little too tired to celebrate.
I can imagine. These guys have to be spent. Another guy that had a great drive today, Scott Dixon, but frustration because it's the 4th straight time you've been the runner-up. Let's look back to the start of this race. How much frustration is there from the beginning? That's where you lost a couple of spots. Was that the difference?
Yeah, it was a bit tough, you know. The restart, I think Ryan went, then he stopped, then he went again, and you know, Will just got a bit flustered there, I think, and it, you know, kind of screwed the whole line there, and everybody got jumbled up. You know, that's part of racing. It's the way it goes. You know, we had a strong day. The car was very quick. I think we had the quickest car out there, but I'm obviously going to have to go and buy a bridesmaid dress tonight because we had another runner-up position there today. But you know, happy with the guys. We just didn't have the best of clean days, but I think we had the fastest car out there.
This is the start of the race again on your onboard and getting together or nearly getting together with Power and so many others. How did you handle physically today? No yellows after the first few laps of the race.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I think when you got a bad car, it becomes a lot worse. So you know, we had a good car. You know, it's definitely a physical track, and with no yellows, you know, it's hard to not get a rest. We were saving fuel a little bit, which helps, you know, with the pace and the physical side of things. But congrats to Ryan Hunter-Reay. Did a hell of a job today.
Good run for Scott Dixon. His runner-up finish just moves him to second now in points. Jan?
With Castro Neves and his family, you look pretty fresh considering, but what gets you wound up is we just showed some replays of that start. You were not in a good place.
No, because I boxed in, and obviously I saw Dixon trying to pass Will, and then he got shoved back, shoved to the side. So everybody went wide, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Come on, Will, go!" And we ended up going to the rear. So it was a shame because we were hoping for a good start, and then we have to change the plan on the strategy. And man, AAA Turbo was there in the end. Let me tell you, that little snail was awesome because it was pushing me all the way to the end.
But the snail wished it would have had reds at the end, correct?
Yeah, but that's the price we pay. We changed the strategy, you know, in the middle of the race. We got to make time, and that's what we did. We throw it. I thought we would be able to hold on, but it was 15, 17 laps to go. It was too many laps. The blacks were a little bit tough to hold on, those guys, and at least we got a podium and hopefully more points for the championship.
I don't know if anyone's told you, but you are now the points leader.
See, that's good. So let's keep doing that way, and hopefully we're going to be there. So good job, AAA boys, SKF, Verizon, you know, Shell, Pennzoil, everyone. You know, it was just a tremendous PPG. Everybody's did a hell of a job. Thanks for the support. I appreciate everyone.
All right, let's take a look at those points, Lee. Nice job for Castro Neves.
And it's not very hard to bring a smile to Elio's face, but he did come even further to life when he found that out. Look at that. He has a 9-point buffer over Scott Dixon and Ryan Hunter-Reay, rocketing into the top 3 after being 18th coming into today. And Marco Andretti solidly in the top 5. A whole lot more after this break.
Beautiful scenery here outside of Birmingham, Alabama, where Ryan Hunter-Reay has won race number 2 in the IZOD IndyCar Series schedule. Charlie Kimball also had a great run. 4th, second best result in IndyCar, runner-up at Toronto last year. Pretty good result for you guys.
Yeah, the 83 race with Insulin car has been good all weekend, and it came good in the race. The Novo Nordisk guys in the pit lane did me solid, and good clean stops, and I just had to get it done on the racetrack.
And you passed a guy named Will Power on the racetrack. That's something that doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, he was saving fuel at the end there, and I knew that if I could get alongside coming up the hill through 13 there, that there were so many marbles that I'd get by him. With him saving fuel, I knew I could pull away. It worked out really well, and a lot of credit to Will. He gave me racing room. He was slow there a couple laps before, so I had it set up. I was on the overtake, just used the curb to help the car rotate, and away we went.
Year number 3, Chip Ganassi said it's time for this guy to win, and he's knocking on the door now. 4th for Charlie Kimball. Marty?
Well, Kevin, if a fan is looking to buy tickets in turn 6 next year for Barber Motorsports Park, how's the view over there, Hinch?
It's great, man. I mean, I was people watching, and I could see the back of everybody's cars. I think
hey to some people?
Up waving, winking, you know, doing whatever I could, air high fives across the track. It was, I'm kind of groggy though, because I think I just woke up from a little bit of a nap.
Did you actually sleep in the car? Because you got out and you had a nice big stretch, you know. I think you might have taken a nap.
I wish I could have taken a nap, but these race cars were just going around making all this noise. It was really rude of them when I was trying to have some peace and quiet, but No, it's just sitting in that one position, not moving. Normally you're in the car and you're working hard.
There you are. Look at that nice stretch right there.
I'll tell you, man, it's just sitting there for 75 laps not doing anything was brutal.
What was it? What happened?
Well, we got hit on lap 1, and under caution there, right as we got the 1 to go, the wheel came off. It went flat, and it actually started to come off. And as they were trying to tow me back, it fully removed itself from the car. And I was hoping they were going to let us tow back. We could throw a new one on because nothing else was bent. But, you know, you dig yourself in a hole, you qualify back there, and these things happen. So it's one of those weekends to forget. Most of the things that could have gone wrong did. And we just got to come back stronger in Long Beach, try and get the GoDaddy car back on the podium.
All right, that'll teach you next time. Take your cell phone because then you can order takeout at least, right?
Brad Keselowski is onto something by taking his phone in the car. Next time, I will not make that mistake.
All right, hence a frustrating day, but he's still an IndyCar winner, right, guys?
The only other time a driver in IndyCar history has won the season opener and then finished last in the next race, 1956, Lloyd Ruby. So since 1956, that is only the second time it's happened. It was in 67 that Lloyd Ruby did that. Little piece of history that Hinch won't really want to know about, but he is good enough humour to congratulate his teammate, part of the team spirit, and he'll bounce back at the next one. So will we. Back at Barber Motorsports Park with the wrap-up of round 2 of the IZOD IndyCar Series, the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama. 2 races this year, 2 different winners, both from the same team. Andretti Autosports, if you're just joining us, Ryan Hunter-Reay is the victor. And a reminder of what's coming up. Long Beach next in California, one of the most iconic IndyCar races on the schedule. And then we look to the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil. April 21st, though, just in a couple of weeks' time, is your next one to look forward to here on the NBC Sports Network. So much still to talk about. Let's check in with Will Power. He's standing by with Jan Beekes.
And, of course, we definitely need to touch base with Will Power after what was a crazy race for you. And you have to go right back to the start and the restart, both on the outside of Turn 1.
Yeah, the start, we had a problem with the mapping. And that kind of caught us out there. So that's why everyone went cruising by. And then and the next start, I don't think we lost any on the next one. We're about the same, kind of got caught out in the dirt.
But you can see from this replay, we'll watch here, you're hung out on the outside. And what happens at this point?
Get in the dirt. No, can't say anything more. I got in the dirt, man.
But why did the mapping get you in that spot?
Well, the mapping got me, obviously everyone swamped me there. I was like just in a bad position. If I'd gone, I could have hung with Ryan a little bit and been in a better spot. But definitely a bad start, a bad restart. So we just went for a big fuel save.
And how tough is that? I mean, you made incredible fuel mileage with incredible pressure.
Yeah, I was trying to keep people behind, trying to get some good exits, and I mean, Kimball made a pretty awesome move. I was surprising around the fastest car on the track, but I definitely had pressure, but I just had in my mind I'm going to get this number and going to make it as hard as possible for people to get by.
Well, making the best out of a tough day. Kevin?
Simon Pagenaud with a good run, 6th. Really needed that after what happened at St. Pete. You had pretty good pace, but right on the formation lap, the mechanical problem, you limped around for a while before you had to retire. How was your car today moving all the way from 13th?
Well, I tell you what, sometimes a 6th position feels like a win, so it's great. Today we managed to get the car in a very happy place for the race. We've had quite a bit of tough luck until now, just like last year. So hopefully, ladies' luck has turned around. And definitely today felt like a good run. The car was fast. I want to thank Honda people for their work. They've been working really hard since Stampede, and as you could see, Honda Power was here and working. So it was pretty awesome. And the car, thanks to my HP crew. Hopefully we go to Long Beach and aim for the win.
Good run, 6th for Simon Pagenaud. He said before the season, if I've got a 6th-place car, I need to take 6th place. He did that today. Marty?
Well, Kevin, I walked up to A.J. Allmendinger and said, other than the stop, it was a great run. He said, no, it wasn't. So why are you upset with yourself?
I don't know. I mean, it's, all around, I felt like, the day went fairly well up until that stop. I think we got hurt to the red tires and if they'd fall off and realized in the warm-up that they wouldn't 2 sets to a lot of guys 3. I knew that would hurt us a little bit, but I had a good start. I was aggressive on the start. I think we got up to like 6th or 7th, and I had good speed in the IZOD Chevy, and I think it's just trying to learn nuances of how this is going. And I felt like we were probably going to finish 10th or 11th and stall in the pits. I'm not really sure why. Couldn't give it to clean out and rev up, and as soon as I let the clutch out, it died. So, I'm going to beat myself up for a while and then go take the positives out of it. Physically, I feel pretty good about it. That's something I was really nervous about. I feel good. I felt like I could go out and do more laps and keep getting better. And at the end there, we pitted so early, we had to save fuel the whole stint, so that hurt us there at the end. But proud of everybody at Penske for all the hard work. Roger for giving me this chance. We'll go to Long Beach, be better, but I'm going to go beat myself up a little bit for this.
Well, that's the good news. We will see him at Long Beach, Lee.
Yeah, and we look forward to that too. And like we said, guys, in the call, it's just a matter of time in the car. He shouldn't be so hard on himself, because if it weren't for that stall, give him 15 seconds back, Wally, where would he be?
But that's what makes it worse, because you were running well, and it was your first race back. You were having a great run. You make a mistake, or whatever happened on the pit lane really cost him a good finish.
We have still got so much to talk about. We've got one final break, and we'll wrap things up here in Alabama on a memorable day at Barber Motorsports Park. Weather has been just beautiful here in Birmingham, Alabama for the qualifying day and race day. And for those of you turning on late, we review the results. Ryan Hunter-Reay with his 10th IZOD IndyCar career victory. Wally, final thoughts?
Balance of power. If you look over there on the top few finishers, Chevrolet, Honda, Chevrolet, Honda, Chevrolet, Honda. Pretty nice.
Townsend?
For me, it's really interesting to see what I call the neutralization of willpower. We're talking about a guy that's been absolutely dominant here. He finished 5th today. Didn't get run over by anybody. Had a few little hiccups, but everybody else has really closed that gap to Will.
For so many years, people spoke about the dominance of Penske and Ganassi. Now we're talking about the dominance of Andretti Autosport. Back-to-back victories in round 1 and 2. Hey, quick reminder that Lucas Oil Motorsports is next. The IZOD IndyCar Series continues on the NBC Sports Network in 2 weeks' time, Sunday, April 21st, as we said earlier, at 4 o'clock Eastern for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. As always, for more information on this series, log on to NBCSports.com. For the entire team, it's been an enjoyable day. I'm Lee Diffie. We'll see you next time. But first, finally, we have to say congratulations to Ryan Hunter-Reay. We'll see you soon.
Won the Tour de France.
The NBC Sports Network thanks you for watching this presentation of the IZOD IndyCar Series.